Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. We welcome you to Lock-In Stadium in Shelley-Elling Field for our coverage of Viking football today here on the Voice of the Vikings and the Voice of the Valley KOVC, along with our YouTube channel for Valley City State University Viking Athletics and on NewsDakota.com. Today, we have Valley City State University, Mayville State University set to do battle for the second time around. The first time, a long, frustrating offensive afternoon for Valley City State in Mayville, where points were at a premium, possessions were at a premium, and the Vikings struggled to a loss of 16-10. Had an opportunity at the end of the game, couldn't quite put it away. And of course, that seems to be the situation that we're in again after a tough one last week at the hands of Dakota State, where the Vikings got inside the 10-yard line 3 times and did not have the opportunity to get points, had a field goal that was missed off of an upright, and then along with that, ended up with 2 very costly interceptions trying to make their way into the end zone, and they were beaten last week as well by a final score of 13-6. And points have been at a premium all season long, and they may be for Mayville State again today as well. The Comets are down to their 4th or 5th quarterback of the season. We were notified midweek that they were changing their depth chart. Tim Salmon, their original starter, out for the season early in the year. Dylan Lamont, the young man out of Grand Forks, comes in, does a job of buoying the system, along with his partner Jack Simmers. Both were central athletes for a team that went to a state championship game. And in that situation, both of them have either had a concussion, an injury, or time limited. And they lost another quarterback last week. And so here they are, 4A, 4B. And really, Jaden, who joins us again, Jaden Babiak from Viking Baseball, who had the play-by-play last night for Viking Volleyball over at Gratian Gymnasium. I see no reason to believe that we're going to have a real slugfest of offense in this one today either, as both teams are really just trying to figure it out right now.
You're absolutely right, Ryan, and the conditions on the field are also going to make it very tough. It's wet, it's cold, it's slippery. And for a Viking offense that has been sputtering all year, you're going to really want to see the defense step up in absence of, you know, that well-oiled offense we've seen in past years for the Vikings.
So today the Vikings will go up against Mayville State, one of their arch rivals, second time around, trying to get back on that revenge tour. Only 3 games left to go in the regular season, and this Viking team had some high hopes that obviously are not going to be accomplished. And so, Jaden, obviously you play at the collegiate level, and you have an idea of what it can be like when you're in a situation where you see the season coming to an end. Now, baseball's a little different. There's always a tournament. There's not like there's a finality of the regular season. Somebody has to hit you over the head to end your year and beat you. But you do get to a point, whether it's in a game or in a different kind of season, where you're not going to make the postseason. So as an athlete, how do you keep yourself going in those situations?
Well, you play for yourself, you play for your teammates, right? You know, we're getting to the end of that season. It's going to start getting cold. It's going to start getting ugly. And it's just going to be playing for the guy next to you. And, you know, some of these seniors, some of these juniors here that are going to count their, you know, last games off the calendar, you know, they're going to want to play their final snaps hard. They're going to want to play for their brothers down there for sure, Ryan. I think that's going to be the common theme there. And, you know, they're going to just have a good time as a team. And, you know, I know Coach Mack's message is probably the same. Just play for your brothers and play for the rest of your careers.
And that's the way it's going to have to be if you're going to fire yourself up about anything. But also, there's the rivalry aspect of this one as well. So is today, when you're playing Mayville State, one of those days where you can throw the records out altogether and not worry about it, and you can just go ahead and kind of take care of this that way? Is that one of the things that you can do, just knowing that Mayville State's on the other sideline?
Yeah, absolutely. Rivalry day is always, a little extra fun, I think, you know, Ryan. And, yeah, 2 schools that aren't necessarily fans of each other have had really good competition in the past in all sports. And, yeah, just a bit of extra motivation for the players today on both sides of the ball.
Yeah, and so when you got rivalry day, that's the way it is. Mayville State's season has been a fairly good one by Mayville State University standards. Let's take a look at the standings coming in today. Mayville State's 3-3 as far as the league is concerned, 4-4 overall. And so we're facing a little different situation from Mayville today, and here's why, Jaden, and you can comment on this as well. For Mayville State, they're looking at the last 2 games of trying to have a winning season, 6-4, 5-5, something along those lines. They may feel like there's a little bit to play for, even if the playoffs are out of their grasp. So we're up against an animal that really is going to be kind of hungry today.
Absolutely, and you find those different motivators. Different teams are going to have different motivators. Obviously, for Valley City, it's going to be more of an internal motivation. Mayville State can still make some noise as far as standings are concerned, so you're going to see that as a primary motivator for them today.
look for this one to be an intense football game. Now, the other part of this that was brought up that I think is interesting, and you've mentioned it already, is the idea that the weather conditions could play a factor here. Now, it's chilly, but football's a chilly weather sport. That's fine. We're in the nice warm press box today. We're going to have a better go of it than the rest of you, okay? Although Ellie, who's our camera person, I understand last night got a little chilly up at Hannah Field when the Highlanders were in their playoff game with Wahpeton. This is a little better situation today. Got a little heat going on in this thing. But that all being said, there is a lot of fog. There was a heavy amount of fog today. You've got the turf surface here. You mentioned slick, you mentioned slippery. We don't typically see weather like this when we get to November. We've got kind of cold, maybe dry. If it's snowing, it's snowing, but this is a little different. I mean, there's a visibility issue in this thing today. Not that that'll hamper the game. The point being, though, that surface could be a little tricky. We might see some cuts that slip and slow things down today.
Yeah, absolutely. In these past few days here, in the Valley City region, we've had to scrape the windshields off. There's been some frost, and that's where that slipperiness is going to come from, Ryan. And again, we're looking out of our press box. Obviously not going to be a huge factor, but the visibility obviously going to play some part here in this game today.
Yeah, that's going to be an interesting one today, and we invite you to stay with us for it. Again, you can follow our video coverage on newsdakota.com. Now, we've got a slight issue with that link, so we're working on getting that repaired for you, and we should have that up for you here in just moments. But you can also find our video coverage today at the Valley City State University Viking Athletics YouTube channel for those of you that are looking to bring in that matchup that way. And for those of you that are looking to take it in via radio, we'll have the coverage for you today here on KOVC. So thank you for joining us wherever you may be in the region. I know it's busy. We got some outdoor stuff going on. There's some people out there doing some hunting, doing some late day fishing. However you're taking it in today, we look forward to having you as a part of our broadcast throughout the course of the day today. We have a break in our pregame report, which is brought to you by Sanford Health Valley City. Here for all and here for good. And following our break, we will take a look at the current standings up and down, including a new rating for the top team right now in the North Star Athletic Association. There's one team looking to make some playoff noise, and the rest of us playing spoiler. They come to our place coming up next week. Also an update on Viking volleyball. As the regular season about to come to a conclusion, the picture for tournament volleyball has become a little bit more clear after last night. So we'll get you involved with that as well. And our starting lineups in football scheduled for a 1 o'clock kickoff today here at Locken Stadium at Shelley Ellick Field. It's Viking football today as the Vikings go up against Mayville State. The Comets 4-4, and the Vikings currently 2-5, looking to get back in the win column. We're back with more in a couple of moments on Viking football.
Looking for a college experience where you can get a degree and make a difference? Valley City State University is the top public regional college in North Dakota, as ranked by U.S. News & World Report. Visit today at vcsu.edu/visit.
This is Dr. Amanda Heck, physical therapist with Mobility Plus Rehabilitation, with offices in Valley City, Lisbon, Gwinner, and Enderlin. Our mission is to provide exceptional physical and occupational therapy by highly skilled therapists to minimize pain and maximize mobility, which allows you to return to the quality of life you desire. From sports injuries to work-related injuries, neurological diagnosis, and pediatric development delays, we will evaluate and educate you on your condition, review treatment options, and create an effective treatment plan to solve your impairments based on your unique situation and needs. I invite you to call our offices at Mobility Plus today.
Are you on the right financial path? Are all your financial professionals on the same page? At LaRue Laco Financial, you can be assured that your investment professional and tax professional are working together. Call Ryan LaRue or Chase Carpenter at 701-845-6938. Securities offered through LPL Financial. Member FINRA, SIPC. Grotberg Electric believes in quality first, taking pride in the work and standing behind every project they do. They bring together the power, technology, and experience to keep your business online. The success of Grotberg Electric depends on three major ideals: the quality of their products, the commitment to their customers, and most of all, their customer service. Call Grotberg Electric today at 845-3010 or visit them online, grotbergelectric.com.
We aren't meant to be still. And while you determine the direction you'll go, We're just here to help you along the way. So go. Go with experience. Go with teamwork. Go with neighbors. Go with integrity.
Why choose Professional Eye Care Centers? 3 great reasons are Dr. Bond, Dr. Freilich, and Dr. Jangula, 3 of the most educated professional optometrists you'll ever meet. Next is their many locations. You can now see one of their spectacular doctors in Jamestown, Valley City, Carrington, Edgeley, Ellendale, and Lemoore. And finally, their fantastic selection. And yes, all of their frames and lenses are backed up by warranty. Visit proeyecarecenters.com and make an appointment today. Professional Eye Care Centers, clearly the best.
Welcome back to Viking football today on the voice of the Vikings and the voice of the Valley, KOVC. Ryan Cunningham, Jaden Babiak with you here today. Ellie Tombarge has our video work today here in our press box at Valley City State University. Back at home once again after a road trip to Dakota State last weekend where the Vikings were beaten by a score of 13-6. And that is a matchup that the Vikings would love to have back in that scenario with a lot of opportunities. Last week was a week where really of the 5 losses that the Vikings have had, when you take a look back through them, of the 4 that they had previous to that one, the Vikings would tell you that they did not play as well as their opposition. Last week, they would likely tell you that they played better than their opposition, and they just didn't have the opportunity to show anything for it. And so now the Vikings are going to try to change some of that we have for you coming up here today. Now, of note, we just want to run through the volleyball situation that we have for you coming up here, because that's going to be an interesting stop. We have more volleyball coming up later on tonight as the Vikings will go up against their next matchup. That will be a non-conference matchup, and it will end the regular season for Viking volleyball. That matchup's going to be against Dort, Iowa, coming up tonight. That is scheduled for a 5:30 pregame report. That's a 5:30 pregame report. 5:30 first serve is what it's scheduled for, a 5:30 first serve coming up. And so what that means is that we'll be scooting from here over there to try to bring that one back in for you as we get ready to go with the next matchup today. So we got kind of a doubleheader of sorts that will be going on for us coming up later on today, and we'll get to that. But after last night, we know a little bit more about the Viking volleyball picture. They will have a home match, but they're going to be the number 4 seed as Dakota State won last night. The Vikings lost to Bellevue, which means they finished tied with Dakota State. Dakota State has tiebreakers, so the Vikings will be the 4. They're going to take on the 5, and unless somebody shocks the world, they're going to take on Dickinson State, as it appears Dickinson State has tiebreakers over Mayville State for the number 5 and number 6 spots. So next week, well, you know, here's the way this should work. Dickinson State, should throw their volleyball team and football teams on the same bus, because they're both coming to the same place on the same day to play, right? So that's the way that should work.
You might as well save some money when you're at it, right? And
be efficient.
Usually, well, a football team's 1 or 2 charters, so you sprinkle a couple volleyball players in each one, and there you go. You're not using a 3rd charter.
I doubt that's the way that's going to go. So we've got football and volleyball today. We'll have football and volleyball again coming up next week as well. Let's take a look at our up-to-date football standings with Drive for the Title, and we'll see what we've got today. And you can see on the top of your screen, for those of you in our video coverage, that Dickinson State University has moved up to the number 17 ranking in the country. They had hung out right around 20, a spot either side of 20, and mostly below the number 20 par. But now with 4 straight wins, and 5-0 as far as the league is concerned, their lone loss was to a team out in the Frontier, and they are clearly the front runner in the league. They've got a 2-game lead over everybody else, and so really today you could start to see that regular season playoff matchup solidified. The North Star Athletic Association does have an automatic bid this year into the NAIA playoffs. The regular season champion gets in whether they're ranked in the top 20 or not. It used to be you had to be ranked in the top 20 and a conference champion to receive an automatic bid. That will not be the case. Every conference, there are 13 of them, get the automatic bids for their champions. Then there are 7 at-large bids. And so the North Star, given that year of deferment with 5 teams, The reason why we're joining the Frontier next year is because this thing's down to 4 after next year, and they will not give you a deferment on 4 teams. You've got to have 6 in order to make it work. So Dickinson State, very likely to get the automatic bid. From there, it's a mess. 3-3 for Dakota State, 3-3 for Mayville State. Dakota State's 5-3, Mayville State's 4-4. The UJ, University of Jamestown, at one time they were winless. They won 2 games in a row. Beat Mayville State, beat Dakota State. And the Vikings are currently last place in the conference by a half game behind the University of Jamestown, despite beating them here 38-7 a few weeks ago. They've got the UJ coming up at the end of the year over there. And so what's unfortunate, Jaden, is that last matchup with the University of Jamestown may just be to stay out of the final spot in the league at this point, but it's still going to mean something. We'll go over there. But Dickinson State, they're the front runner at this point.
Yeah, absolutely. And like you said, bit of a mess after Dickinson State. Obviously, Dickinson perennially, usually running up that league, and yeah, you know, it's gonna be a bit of a different feel for the final paint bucket. Could be very well be the final paint bucket, at least for the foreseeable future.
Yeah.
But definitely an unfortunate situation there, and obviously Valley City State going to have to find that momentum to try and dig themselves out of last place in the league.
So still trying to do that. You can take a step in that direction today by getting a win over Mayville State, because as you know, they certainly don't want to deal in that situation where they would lose to the Comets twice in the year. That's a look at Drive for the Title with our standings on our pregame report, brought to you by Sanford Health Valley City. Here for all and here for good. We'll come back, take a look at the players to watch in this matchup as we close in on kickoff time. Our starting lineups and kickoff about 12 minutes away as we continue from Shelley Ellig Field and Locken Stadium. It's the Vikings and Mayville State in Viking football today here on KOBC, the VCSU Athletics YouTube channel, and video coverage online at newsdakota.com.
Looking for a quality, affordable education to get you the career you want? Strengthen your resume with a degree from Valley City State University. From education to business, fisheries and wildlife to software engineering, we have it all. Learn more about becoming a Viking today.
When you're craving the taste of juicy, flavorful, locally sourced beef and pork, look no further than your locally owned Valley Meat Supply. At Valley Meat Supply, we take pride in bringing you the finest cuts of beef and pork straight from local producers. So whether you're planning a mouth-watering barbecue or a cozy family meal, choose Valley Meat Supply for the highest quality, locally grown beef, pork, and award-winning jerky, sticks, and sausage. Valley Meat Supply, West Main, Valley City. Your taste buds will thank you.
At CHI Mercy Health, we believe human kindness is at the root of all healing, providing care on a human level, courage when it's needed most, and a connection that's ever present among us all. Human kindness is meant to be shared. It puts a smile on someone's face and seeks to do the same for others. Take the time to nourish what's inside and watch your life flourish outside, because taking care of yourself is an act of human kindness. Just like human kindness, happiness can come from the most unexpected places. Whether it's from your friend, your dog, or a memory, embrace it and pass it on. CHI Mercy Health of Valley City.
Hi, this is Clint from Central Avenue Health Mart Pharmacy in beautiful downtown Valley City, your only locally owned pharmacy since 1989. When you're locally owned, you care about your community and your customers. We offer a great selection of gifts and toys, as well as yarns, fabrics, sewing, and crafting. We are here for you from 9 to 5:30 weekdays and Saturdays 9 to 1. For all your pharmaceutical needs, give us a call, 845-5280.
Health Mart, taking time to listen and care.
Orthopedic pain is limiting. It's unpredictable. And when it disrupts the way you move, it disrupts the way you live. Life is better when you feel empowered to move the way you want, when you want. And that's where our experts come in. We're your guides to orthopedic and sports medicine treatment options that can manage your pain, rehab your injuries, and restore your confidence. Take back the freedom to move. Explore your orthopedic options at Sanford Health.
When your team, school, or business needs custom apparel or promotional products, Rambo is here to help. With over 40 years of industry-leading experience, state-of-the-art machines, and dedicated employees, we have the tools and facility to handle any job. With online ordering solutions for sports teams and businesses alike, you can count on us to get the job done correctly and on time. To get your next project started, contact Matt or visit us online at rambo.com.
Welcome back to Viking football here on the Voice of the Vikings, the Voice of the Valley, KOVC. Also on our live video stream today at newsdakota.com. We have that all fixed up now. It's not even a basketball picture anymore. It's great. It's actually a football picture that's there now when you go there to try to activate the link. You may have been confused there for a while, some of you that went over there early, and all the text was right, the link was right, but the darn picture showed basketball. Well, we hadn't quite been able to kind of fix it all up. So now it's all good, okay? And you can also find it at the VCSU Athletics YouTube channel today. Glad to have you along with us here today. Mayville State's taking the field. Vikings getting ready to come out as well, and we'll take a look at our starting lineups here in a couple of moments. Let's take you through as we continue with our Sanford Health Valley City pregame report. Players to watch in this one today. We'll start with the Vikings to watch in this one. And, you know, it's really hard to know who to watch in this one for the Vikings because Avery Thorsgaard's taken every snap for the last couple of weeks, and he's one of the quarterbacks here, but they have Noah Chambers on the depth chart again as an and, meaning that both will play, we expect, at some point this time frame. We don't know who's going to get the start today, but Avery Thorsgaard, 481 yards rushing on the season, and he is the team leader for the Vikings in that regard. Georgia Magnejo, 33 tackles and 6 tackles for loss. He's had a great couple of weeks. And Jake Deutsch, the leader in the receiving corps, with 23 catches and 230 yards on the season catching. Jake Deutsch has had a great season for Valley City State, and that's good to see from him. It's just hard to know who we dial in on as to watch for the Vikings because of the inconsistency as of late.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, you think about that, and then you also think, okay, well, who's going to step up today? And, you know, you do the best you can with, who to watch today, and obviously there's going to be some moving pieces, but I've liked Jake Deutsch. Both times I've been able to watch him, I think he's really good. He gets open, he's been scrappy, and he's done really well for that Viking offense.
Absolutely. We're going to take a break. We'll come back with more in a couple of moments. They're going to pause for our national anthem here. We will pause for our national anthem as well and come back with more in a moment on Viking football.
Sanford Health of Valley City is dedicated to transforming your healthcare experience and providing access to world-class healthcare right here in America's heartland. We're committed to improving the human condition at every stage of life through exceptional care, spiritual enhancement, innovation, and discovery. Schedule your appointment today at Sanford Health of Valley City by calling 701-845-6000 or self-schedule online at mysanfordchart.org. Sanford Health, here for all, here for good.
Experience the thrill, feel the passion, and join the excitement. Tickets on sale now at VCSUVikings.com.
Lang hard to the basket with a two-hand flush. He burst through it. He's to the end zone. Touchdown, Valley City State.
Here's the game-winning shot. Does it go? Yes, it does!
Nelson on the attack. Olin can't make the play. The Vikings sweep the Jimmy.
Hey college students, are you looking for a part-time job that works around your schedule, pays well, and gives you free money for college every year? McDonald's offers all of it. We can work around your schedule, and we give $2,500 scholarships to everyone who works for 3 months and averages 15 hours per week. That's 2 full shifts a week or 3 shifts of 5 hours. It's that easy. Let us help you become our next scholarship recipient. Come join our team. Text ND29 to 38000 to apply today.
Welcome back to Viking football, the national anthem taken care of today by the Valley City State University Viking Pep Band, and now we're set for the remainder of our pregame report as the captains get ready to meet at midfield today. The Vikings take on Mayville State. Valley City State's 2-5. Mayville State's 4-4. Teams met once before. It was a win for Mayville State 16-10 up at Jerome Berg Field in Mayville. The Vikings hoping for something a little bit better than that coming up here today. Let's take a look at the players to watch for Mayville State, which is also just as big of a mystery as really anything else. And it starts right there in the middle of your screen today for those of you in our video coverage. Aiden Markinson has played in 1 game this year and has 5 of 7. Now, we found some updated numbers. He's actually played in 2 games this year for Mayville State. He has 2 different numbers because he normally wears 16. Today he'll wear 7. Stats went under 2 different numbers, but the total is 6 of 9 for 38 yards for Aiden Markinson this year. So that will be the 4th or 5th man to take snaps this season for Mayville State. Jack Simmers on your right side is the leading rusher with 485 yards, and he plays the quarterback position. He's not on the depth chart as a quarterback, but they'll have a package for him. And then on the left-hand side of your screen, that's the guy that really hurt the Vikings last time. Dan Neville, 122 rushing yards for Mayville State their first time around. And when you consider that he has 330 yards on the season, a third plus of his season production came against the Viking defense. Now, the Vikings were better, particularly in the second half last week, of getting off the field against the run against Dickinson State. We'll see if some of that carries over, but in both taking a look at the Vikings to watch and the Comets to watch, there's just a lot of indecision with these two teams right now as to who's going to make plays. What I like about that, Jaden, is that what this really turns into, whoever makes the plays with players that probably aren't expected to make the plays is going to win this football game.
It's a game of opportunities, and especially when you know, a younger guy, for example, come in, take some opportunities, make some plays. You know, you start looking at that player for next year. Okay, are they going to have a full-time role in our team here? And again, another motivator for these players to possibly play for spots that would be available next year.
So a lot going on here with this one today as we take a look at those players to watch. Let's give you our starting lineups today, brought to you by CHI Mercy Health Valley City. Hello Human Kindness for the Comets. The center is Dan Suda. The guards are Dante Frank and Aaron Gilmet. The tackles are Xavier Powers and Juan Carlos Martinez. The wide receivers are Javian Davis and one of the best in the business, Elijah Roundtree and Isaiah Smith. The tight end, Kelby Azure. The running back is Dan Neville, and Aiden Markison will get the start at quarterback. Defensively today, the three technique. The nose is Jared Gay. The edges are Bailey Mullenberg and Gunnar Jorgensen. The linebackers are Devon Woods, Anthony Johnson, Andrew Roberts, and Richard Shelton, who is a terrific defensive player from Mayville State. The secondary, the safeties are Zyler Carlson, a hometown kid, and Jordan Richardson, and the edges are Will Flemons on the corner, Dan Zeal Navy on the other. For the Vikings today, the center is Bryce Prouty. The guards are Reese Wilprecht and Tommy Cox, and the tackles are Jonah Larson and Zach Kuznia. The wide receivers are Jake Deutsch, Dom Sotomayor, and Xavier Westbrook. The tight end is Trent Finney. The running back, Legarius Marshall, Avery Thorsgaard, the listed quarterback. Defensively, the interior, DeQuez Chapman and Georgie McNeho. The ends, Georgia McNeho and Mosiah Rogers-Tavau. The linebackers, Loke Yesse, Levi Olson, Malachi Torres. The corners are James Don and Emmanuel Spy, and the safeties are Michael Olson and Gavin Gerhardt. Evan Lorenzo puts a foot into this one. We are underway with football this afternoon here at Valley City State University. Isaiah Smith on the kickoff return, ran to the middle on the far hash to the 20, burrowing forward and finally finished off as he got to around the 22-yard line. And that's where Mayville State will take over, first down and 10. Decent coverage downfield for the Vikings. And what I noticed on that already, Jaden Babiak, physical. Things got a little roughhouse out there right away in the very beginning.
A little pushing and shoving, and for sure in a rivalry game, you're going to want to make your presence known here. Deliver a big hit. Also gets you into the game from a physical standpoint. As far as the weather is concerned, you get yourself warmed up, you start making some tackles, and it's going to feel like a pretty nice day for you.
We'll see if that carries over as a nice day for everyone here. Comets in white, Vikings in red. Wouldn't have it any other way. And it looks like Jack Simmers is going to take the first snap of the football game. And Simmers will give it away in the backfield to Mason Ullman, who gets the opening carry. So here's the indecision already as Ullman is brought down behind the line of scrimmage around the 20, 21-yard line. And we've got a whistle off of the opening play. There seems to be a stoppage on the field. That'll be a loss. Or is there an injury?
Yeah, I think number 58 there for Mayville State.
Okay, Dante Frank, he's the left guard. He went off. It's a gain of a yard. They're actually going to spot the football at around the 21, but the chains are off. The chains, yeah, they've got the down marker a yard ahead. The chains are set at the 22. The down marker's up to the 23. Now they're moving it back to the 20. It's a loss of 2 yards on that run for Mason Ullman. And now it'll be on second down and 11. Mayville State sending Aiden Markison into the game to take the snap. He'll give to Ullman, an off right guard. Ullman to the 25 for a gain of perhaps 4. And here comes third down and 8. So right away, what we were talking about, though, the indecision. Aiden Markison and Dan Neville starting quarterback, running back. Neither of them on the field for the opening play. Jack Simmers, Mason Ullman, and Ullman getting the first possession at the running back spot for the Comets today.
Yeah, again, we're going to see a lot of different looks from, I think, both teams today. And first two plays, no different there.
So here's third down and 8. This is a big down early in the football game. The Vikings looking to get their defense off the field and send a bit of a statement right away. Markison has men to his right and left. in the backfield, but he will send Mason Ullman out as a receiver to the right side. Marcuson stepping up in the pocket. He's hit, and he'll be brought down right at the line of scrimmage, maybe a half a yard. It's not a quarterback sack, but it works. Georgia Magnejo stepping into it. One of the players we talked about as a player to watch today. He's having a really, really good second half of the season, and the Vikings will force a Mayville State punt.
Yeah, Magnejo, Georgia Magnejo. Well, both Magnejos very big pieces for this Viking defense here. They're going to be relied on all day to stop that run.
So on fourth down, Mayville State will send out their punt unit, and the Vikings look to get the football with decent field position. It's a short end-over-end kick, and the Vikings going to let it roll, and that roll is going to be a good one for the Comets inside the Viking 35 and down to the 32 before it's touched up. And now, the magical mystery tour. How will the Vikings approach this offensively today with the 2-3 looks that they have coming up in the matchup? It would appear that Avery Thorsgaard will come onto the field to get things going for the Vikings here on their first possession today.
Well, he's taken every snap these past 2 games, so not surprising to see him out first, but you know you're probably going to get a look at Noah Chambers here as this game goes on.
Thorsgaard will be out of the gun. Legarius Marshall is to his left. Single wide receiver each way, and they'll put a slot on the right-hand side of the field. Jake Deutsch motions behind the formation for the Vikings. Ground ball snap. Legarius Marshall gets the carry. Still able to find a hole right side on a stretch play to the 35 and run out of bounds by Danziel Navy along the near sideline. It'll be a gain of 3. Thorsgaard nearly went down to a knee to get that snap, and I thought they were going to call him down. Maybe a generous no call there, and the Vikings get 3 yards.
Yeah, definitely not what you're looking after. Sorry, not what you're looking for on the opening play here, but Legarius Marshall improvises there, gets a few yards, and puts the Vikings in better position here. Second and manageable here now for the Vikings.
The Vikings had 2 tight ends on that formation. They're both going to be withdrawn, and Mayville State's going to call for timeout. And boy, this has been an odd start to the game, has it not? We had the injury, obviously. A timeout here for Mayville State that's in a really weird place. I wonder if they're asking for a review.
Timeout. Mayville is challenging the ruling on the field.
You're right, Ryan. Good call there by you.
Yeah, they're going to ask for a review. I think they're challenging the idea of that ball not being downed on a knee by Avery Thorsgaard on the ground ball. And so the way they adjudicate this is, if I understand correctly, Mayville State has to call timeout in order for a challenge to take place. If the challenge is successful, they get the timeout back. If the challenge is unsuccessful, they use the timeout. So Rocky Larson, the head coach of the Comets, calling for timeout. And the way we saw it, I expected the whistle when that ball was fielded by Thorsgaard. I thought he touched the turf with the knee when he picked it up, and if he did, he's down. That's taking a knee, and so that gain for Legarius Marshall will be wiped out.
And I think that's a good aggressive challenge early. Obviously, you go 3 and out on offense. The ability to back Valley City up here, make it second and long, kind of puts it back where you're in the driver's seat here, especially after a poor opening drive.
Yeah, this would be a change of about 7 yards, maybe 8 yards in field position. I would expect that, the line of scrimmage was the 32, and I think that ball was probably fielded about the 27-yard line by quarterback Avery Thorsgaard. And so if the challenge is upheld, it would be a total change in field position from here of about 8 yards, and I think the Vikings would be looking at second down and 15 if the challenge is successful. They've taken a look at it, and our referee will come out to the midfield spot and will inform us as to whether or not the challenge was successful. Rocky Larson still with his team on the field. The Vikings there as well.
Quarterback sneaks out on the 27-yard line.
Yep, that's exactly what it is. So they will say that the quarterback's knee was down, and they announced it was the 27-yard line is where they'll put the football. And so unfortunate that I sort of turned into Karnak the Magnificent there because I saw it coming, but it's a loss of 8 yards, and second down and 15 coming up for the Vikings. I've never been so unhappy to look so educated at one time, right?
Well, I'll tell you what, you called the yard line. You called that the challenge was coming before it even happened, and yeah, they need to put you you somewhere else now. You're too good for this right now, Ryan.
Go to gamble in Vegas. On second down, Thorsgaard's in trouble, and this might be intentional grounding. Mears was in the area. Thorsgaard is down, and there's a flag down there as well. Now, Mears was out there in the vicinity of looking to catch the football. This would be an aggressive throw of the penalty marker. Are they going to pick this up and wave it off? Well, the flag has been picked up by the referee. They're going to wave off the flag. All right. So he threw an intentional grounding penalty. Didn't see Mears running the out route. Mears is in the vicinity, so incomplete pass. Here comes 3rd down and 15.
Yeah, that would have been a nightmare for the Vikings there, but again,
loss of down. It would have been back inside the 20. That would have been an
Exactly.
absolute disaster. So here's 3rd down and 15 for Valley City State with 4 receivers. And Colby Jones in the backfield now to the left of Avery Thorsgaard, waiting for the shotgun snap on 3rd down 15 for the Vikings. Thorsgaard takes the snap, 3-man rush. He throws middle screen. Jones wrapped up right at the 30, drives forward to about the 31. Gain of about 4, but well short. The Vikings will punt, and perhaps maybe true to form a little bit, this one's kind of started the way we thought it was going to. Offensively, a little bit of a tough look.
Yeah, a couple 3-and-outs here by both teams, and you know, it's going to be really who's going to get their offense rolling first here. Again, we talked about the conditions. We talked about it's cold, and both teams going to be very uncomfortable here, but eventually you're going to have to bear down and just find a way to get the job done.
Isaiah Smith is back to receive the punt, and the kick is away. It's a low end-over-end roller, but Smith makes a good field of it at the 25-yard line, puts a move on the 30, took a hit at the 35, and is down at the 36. That's a big bruising special team stop by Aiden Russell for the Vikings. And Aiden's one of those guys, as we take a look at some of the Vikings to watch today, Aiden is now listed as an and at middle linebacker on the depth chart. This kid's had a tremendous season. 31 tackles for Aiden Russell off the bench this year, which is a really nice number and a good linebacker core. Sophomore to South St. Paul, Minnesota, and he's been a good find. Jack Simmers back on the field with an empty backfield for Mayville State. 1st and 10 Comets, the 36, calling his own number. He tries, and he's not going to get far. Georgie Magnejo this time wraps him up right at the line of scrimmage. No gain on that play. It'll be 2nd down and 9. And I'll tell you what, Jaden, from an artistic form, this game's not breaking records today, is it?
No, absolutely not. It's going to be a game that's won on grit and physicality here. We're not going to see a whole lot of pretty plays. At least that's just going off of the first couple drives here.
2nd down and 9. It'll be a gain of 1 for Jack Simmers on that play. You can hear some wind beginning to pick up in the background as well. 4 receivers, and it's Marcuson that will step back in as the quarterback. He throws a screen out to the far side for Mason Ullman, who's roughed out of bounds right at around the 44 and ahead of it just a bit. Looks like 3rd down and short is coming up, maybe 3rd down and a yard as they complete a screen to Mason Ullman trying to extend the running game. And here comes another key 3rd down on the matchup.
Yeah, and you definitely think, especially with Daniel Neville here for Mayville State, you're going to probably want to lean on him to pick up the yard. Doesn't appear, though.
No, it's going to be Jack Simmers, and he can get you a yard as he runs the football. Big physical running quarterback. Viking crowd coming to life, trying to will the defense on for another stop. Simmers looking middle. Simmers driving right side, found an edge, slipped the tackle, and has a 1st down. He's ahead of the 47 to around the 48. Tripped up on the edge by Emmanuel Spivey, but Jack Simmers, who had his Grand Forks Central Knights in the state championship game a year ago, has now on the field for Mayville State as one of their many quarterbacks and has a 1st down carry for the Comets on a pickup of 2.
Yeah, definitely an athletic play there by Jack Simmers, and we were talking about him beforehand, where they're going to rely on him to be that kind of athlete there for Mayville State. Not a traditional quarterback, as you said, Brian.
Simmers out of the gun on 1st and 10. His own number again, looking right side, cuts off a tackle, dives ahead of midfield into the Viking 49 before he's brought down. Levi Olson with the stop there, along with Georgie Magnejo getting up front as well. They'll give Simmers the 49, and it's a gain of 3. 2nd down and 7. And Simmers does have the ability to throw the football, but doesn't really stretch the field with it. His ability to take punishment has really been something. 2-sport athlete a year ago, big basketball player as well. Jumping up front, and I believe Tequez Chapman got back on side before the snap, and that forced a move from Mayville State. But nowadays in the game, if the defense moves and forces a move from the offense, you can penalize the defense as well. And I don't know, this is a 50-50 jump ball as to who's going to be penalized here. Comets pointing at Valley. Valley pointing at Mayville State. And they're going to call Tequez Chapman offside. So you violate the neutral zone. I think you can violate it and get back, but if you violate it and then force a movement from your counterpart across the line, you're still going to be called for the penalty.
Yeah, and that's what it did look like. It looked like Chapman was the first one to jump, and then obviously I think he got a couple head taps there from one of the Mayville State linemen, indicating thank you for the extra yards there. But
second down and 2 now for the Vikings. Pair of receiver, for the Comets. Little zone read this time. This is Markuson slipping tackles. Correction, Mason Ullman taking the snap, slipping tackles, rumbling inside the Viking 30. He's down to the 25 as they catch the Vikings sleeping. That's 17 yards up the field for Mason Ullman taking a snap. 3 different men have taken snaps today for the Comets, and it's 1st and 10. Mayville State at the Viking 25.
Yeah, like we said, we're going to get a lot of different looks here, and no quarterback in the in that huddle there for the Comets, and then a little read, and makes a good run upfield through the middle.
Well, Ullman and Dan Neville, the 2 running backs, are now playing together. Ullman is behind at the center taking the shotgun snap. Neville's back there as well. They'll send Javian Davidson in jet sweep motion. It's kept by Ullman, who plunges off right guard, makes his way to the 22 for a gain of 3 before he's wrestled down by Tequez Chapman. And it's 2nd down and 7. Boy, the way this is setting up with the weather today, the wind, the fog, the 2 teams that are out here, ultimate battle of attrition between these 2 teams today.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is Midwest football at its finest here. We got a nice cold day. Obviously, I think the press box is leaving a little chillier than usual, but, and again,
we have a window open.
Yeah.
Hey, this is way better than what we had in the past. We're not complaining at all. This is nice. Ullman out of the shotgun again with Dan Neville to his left, and they fake the jet sweep motion, and Ullman's caught in the backfield and will go down back at the 25-yard line. Ullman was in trouble that time after faking the jet sweep motion with Javian Davison. Aiden Russell, Mosiah Rogers, Tavau, both up to make part of that stop. 3rd down and 10. Probably 4-down territory here for Mayville State from the Viking 25. You're looking at a 43-yard field goal, and Mayville State does have a good kicking game, but Rocky Larson is one of the biggest gunslingers in the North Star. He loves to roll the dice. Men to the right and left of Aiden Markuson, who's back in. They throw screen. It's caught. Isaiah Smith, midfield drive inside the Viking 15, down to the 10. It's a 15-yard pickup for Isaiah Smith. And the Comets will be on the doorstep looking at 1st down at near goal.
Yeah, Markuson found himself in a bit of trouble there, dumped it off there, and picked up the 1st down on the screen. And he's going out now. We're going to get another. Is that...
Well, Dan Neville, actually Mason Ullman is still on the field.
Yeah.
They're subbing out, and a new man that comes into the game is Kelby Asher, the tight end. That's who came off the sideline. But Mason Ullman's going to continue to take the snaps, and now he'll do it out of an empty backfield. 4 receivers will be spread to the left. Javian Davison will motion into the backfield. Now he becomes the running back. Snap taken, and Davison, zone read, taken back by Ullman, struggling ahead down to the 6. A gain of 4 as he's swallowed up by Georgie Magnejo. And it'll be 2nd down and goal, by the way. They did mark the ball just on the 10-yard line and inside it. No 1st down to be gained here for Mayville State. So it's 2nd down goal officially from the Vikings 7-yard line.
Yeah, and Mayville State kind of having their way here with the run game. Obviously drawing up a few different looking plays, not necessarily something you'd see traditionally, but that's kind of what you have to do when you're on your 4th and 5th string quarterback.
They've thrown it a couple of times on this drive. 9-yard catch, Mason Ullman, 15-yard catch for Isaiah Smith. And they plunged their way to the Vikings 7. We're at 2nd down and goal as we approach the 5-minute mark and counting here in the opening quarter. Jack Simmers being flushed to the corner, hit Emmanuel Spivey. Nice open field tackle for Spivey to bring down Simmers at the 7-yard line for no gain. Simmers got out to the edge quickly, but the young man out of Fargo, North Dakota, who had an interception last year against UJ in the season opener and has been a big part of the defense. Nice open field tackle.
Yeah, Emmanuel Spivey, one of those really pure athletes there for the Vikings. Matched Simmers, got to Simmers very fast, and like you said, Simmers was at the outside quite fast there, and it's going to be 3rd and, well, manageable here for Mayville, but if you're Valley City, this is a huge stop to come up with.
Play clock's down to 5 seconds, and I think Mayville State's taking another timeout
Yeah,
here.
they want to talk about it here, I think.
So the Comets are going to call for timeout, and that'll take us down to 4:14 left to go here in the opening quarter. No score in the LaRue Laco Financial scoreboard. We have a timeout from Mobility Plus Rehabilitation. More Viking football coming up next.
Looking for a college experience where you can get a degree and make a difference? Valley City State University is the top public regional college in North Dakota, as ranked by U.S. News and World Report. Visit today at vcsu.edu/visit.
Welcome back to Viking football here on KOVC, the voice of the Valley, the VCSU Athletics YouTube channel, and at newsdakota.com with our video coverage. Ryan Cunningham, Jaden Babiak, and Ellie Tombarsh with our camera work today. 3rd and goal, Comets from the Viking 7. This drive began at around the Comet 36-yard line. They've been able to move down the field with a couple of throws to loosen things up. Now they face 3rd and goal. 3 different Comets have taken snaps today. They're going to go back to Aiden Markison, who was listed as the starting quarterback, and Dan Neville's with them out of the traditional I. 3 receivers, Twins left. And they'll motion Davison. They give to Ullman up the middle, hit and dropped at the 8 for a loss of a yard. Huge play again by Tequez Chapman, who's been all over it today for the Vikings. And there's another Viking injury as well in this play as Chapman blows up that play back at the 8, and the Comets did sub out as if they were going to go to a field goal opportunity, but one of the Vikings down on the end of the play. Let's take a look at that play again on our newsdakota.com replay, and you'll see this one get blown up right in the interior of the field. The fake didn't fool anybody. Ullman just gets stuck right there at the 8-yard line, and it was Tequez Chapman that came out of there with the stop, and a nice play for the Vikings in that sequence defensively. But now a Viking injury as well, and tough to see who it is that's injured out there. Just playing the process of elimination here. I see Chapman, I see Tavau. I thought I saw Georgie Magnejo. Yeah, that's Georgia Magnejo who's up. He's going to have to come off for a play, and it looks like he's going to be okay. But, boy, that'd be a loss for the Vikings. Georgia Magnejo had that quarterback stop. Not a sack, but a stop earlier in the game. And he's been so impressive for the Vikings the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, coming off under his own power, definitely a good sign. Obviously, it hurts a little more in this kind of weather, and yeah, I'm not surprised. I told you at commercial I thought they'd kick here if they couldn't make it into the end zone, and Mayville will do just that.
Caden Johnson, defensive back, from 25 yards for the three-pointer. Kick is on its way, a little shorter than normal, but it is good. And Mayville State's on the board first today as they will lead 3-0 with 3:47 left to go here in the opening quarter from Locken Stadium and Shelley Ellick Field. LaRue Laco Financial scoreboard reads Comets 3, Vikings nothing. Mobility Plus Rehabilitation. Timeout. We're back with more in a moment.
This is Dr. Amanda Heck, physical therapist with Mobility Plus Rehabilitation, with offices in Valley City, Lisbon, Gwinner, and Enderlin. Our mission is to provide exceptional physical and occupational therapy by highly skilled therapists to minimize pain and maximize mobility, which allows you to return to the quality of life you desire. From sports injuries to work-related injuries, neurological diagnosis, and pediatric development delays, we will evaluate and educate you on your condition, review treatment options, and create an effective treatment plan to solve your impairments based on your unique situation and needs. I invite you to call our offices at Mobility Plus today.
Lockett Stadium, Shelley Ellick Field. Vikings down 3-0 as Caden Johnson puts the first points on the board today for Mayville State with a 25-yard field goal. And Xavier Westbrook, who returned to kick for score against University of Jamestown a few weeks ago. Back to receive one. He will not take it, though. Colby Jones will at the 15 on the kickoff return. Ran into Mason Ullman upfield and will be stopped at around the 24-yard line. So Mason Ullman, running back, out on the field, playing a little bit of a special teams role there as well. And a little engagement back behind the play. Marcus Jones, a linebacker from Tempe, Arizona, for Mayville State, had a little tete-a-tete with Khalil Toney. And Khalil Toney backs down to no man. But Khalil Toney had to get up and come off to the sideline.
Well, we're going to see a little bit of this as the day goes on. Obviously, two rivals we've mentioned here, and you want to get a little physical. You want to have some pushing and shoving if you're on either sideline. Physicality going to be a key today.
Vikings will send Avery Thorsgaard back out for another possession. Empty backfield with 3 receivers right. Lone man left is Dom Sotomayor. Little flinching up front. Thorsgaard throwing middle. Westbrook has the catch at the 30. Quick hitter for 5 as Westbrook takes a pop from Jordan Richardson from behind. It'll be 2nd down and 5. That's a well-thrown ball by Avery Thorsgaard.
Yeah, kind of between two defenders there, and couldn't have thrown that ball any better. Good catch there by Xavier Westbrook, and good on him to hold that ball as he had contact on him. 2nd and manageable here for the Vikings.
Nick Mears, who's played more and more a role in the receiver corps for the Vikings, steps in. Started to get into the games about week 4, week 5, and has really become a mainstay in and out of the lineup for the Vikings there. Legarius Marshall in the backfield now to the left of Avery Thorsgaard. Thorsgaard trying to call his own number, jumping, juking, 1st down carry. He's ahead of the 35 up to the 36. Gain of 6 yards for Avery Thorsgaard, and the Vikings have a 1st down.
And we see Avery Thorsgaard do that so much, and he's quite good at it too, and finding the open hole there. Gain of 5 or 6, gets the 1st down. Vikings with a fresh set of downs.
Trent Finney having to come off the field for the Vikings. Austin Richter will take his spot as the Vikings have an injured tight end rather in that situation. Trip triangle bunch to involve Richter on the near side of the field for the Vikings. Xavier Westbrook and also Jake Deutsch there as well. 1st down and 10. Deutsch motions behind the formation right to left. Thorsgaard dropping back, stepping in the pocket, throwing, looking for Deutsch, who's got it, broke a tackle. Outside the numbers, now back to the middle of the field, 45-40 to the 35, trying to cut back, and Deutsch is inside the Comet 30 and down to the 29-yard line. Big play for Jake Deutsch. The Vikings have a 1st down in Comet territory.
Tell you what a playmaker he is. Jake Deutsch caught that ball around, about 9 yards away from Thorsgaard, and then manufactured the extra there, and Vikings with really good field position here. This 2nd drive looking a lot better for them.
36 yards for Jake Deutsch, and the Vikings have a life on this possession. Inside the Comet 30, trailing the Comets 3-0. Xavier Westbrook motioning right to left. Thorsgaard going to give it back to Westbrook. Jet sweep, looking to cut middle. Got himself to the 25 and is down to the 24. Before he's chased down. That's a tough play to execute. Xavier Westbrook took the football and kind of had his back to where he wanted to run. He almost had to turn and face up the field just to get a direction to go. That was an odd look on that play.
Absolutely. He's athletic too, and he can do that. So good play there by Westbrook. Now, Valley City, you're in good field position. You got to find a way to turn this into points.
Yeah, that was a problem last week against Dakota State. 2nd down, long 5. Thorsgaard calling his own number, faking the zone read, down behind the line of scrimmage for a loss of a yard. Back to the 25.
It took a little too long to decide there. Was kind of going back and forth, and Mayville State converged on him there. And you got to make something happen here. You at least got to give yourself a chance. You think this is probably 4-down territory here if you're the Vikings.
Yeah, it's a long way out, 25, 43 yards as far as a field goal, and the leg is there for Evan Lorenzo, but the wind has become a factor. Now, the wind is somewhat at his back, but it's also a crosswind. It's out of the southeast today, expecting rain tomorrow, and so you might see that. But, yeah, there's a couple of different downs, and I suppose this play will cause the result of that. Thorsgaard's in trouble, going down for a quarterback sack. Back at the 32-yard line, Comets get to him. The stop is made by Devon Woods out of the linebacker core. That comes up with the quarterback sack, and on 4th down, now it's definitely 4-down territory. Not a lot you can punt with here with the wind at your back, you would think. That's going to be the way the 1st quarter comes to a conclusion. The Viking offensive woes continue through a frame, and the Comets have the lead. At the end of a quarter, on your LaRue Laco Financial scoreboard, it's the Comets 3 and the Vikings nothing. This is our coverage of Viking football, back after a timeout for Mobility Plus Rehabilitation on KOVC, the voice of the Valley, newsdakota.com, and the VCSU Athletics YouTube channel. Are you on the right financial path? Are all your financial professionals on the same page? At LaRue Laco Financial, you can be assured that your investment professional and tax professional are working together. Call Ryan LaRue or Chase Carpenter at 701-845-6938. Securities offered through LPL Financial. Member FINRA, SIPC. Welcome back to Viking football here on the Voice of the Vikings, the Voice of the Valley, KOVC, on the VCSU Athletics YouTube channel, and also on newsdakota.com with our video coverage today. Vikings trailing by a score of 3-0. Continues to be a tough sled offensively, and the Vikings are facing tough prospects here. Evan Lorenzo is coming on to attempt what is going to be a 48-yard field goal try for Valley City State. This is the real deal when it comes down to field goal tries.
Not what we were expecting for sure. Especially now the wind is in his face. But we're going to see him give it a go. Like you said, he has a good leg. If he connects, you never know here.
Lefty kicker, middle of the field, from 48, kick blocked. It's on the ground. Bailey Mullenberg blocked it. Bailey Mullenberg recovers it. Comets will have field position at their own 45-yard line. That's a perplexing decision. That's a long field goal. You're going into the wind. But the Vikings just may not have the confidence right now in their offense to try to pick up a third down and 13. You can't allow a block in that case, though. You missed the field goal, fine. You're looking at it as a punt, essentially. It'll be a touchback back out to the 20, but the block, short porch coming up now for Mayville State. That's a frustrating set of circumstances.
Absolutely, and one of the tools that Avery Thorsgaard actually has is that kind of pooch punt. So I was thinking maybe they might have looked to that, but went with the field goal. Obviously, probably not the right decision considering the result. And Mayville State, like you said, short porch here.
And so the Comets leading 3-0 will bring their offense back onto the field. Marcuson hands it off to the near side for Malik Flowers. Flowers outside the number, steps out of bounds as he got to near the Viking 40. It's going to be a pickup of nearly 15 yards. And Dennis McCulloch, the head coach of the Vikings, is in the ear of Jason Doctor, who's our judge on the side, upset about what he thought was a holding penalty that wasn't flagged. They'll say Malik Flowers out of bounds at the 42. It's a 13-yard gain.
Well, Malik Flowers found himself wide open on that run, so Coach Mack down there might have a bit of a case, but no flags thrown here. Good run there by the Mayville State Comets.
First down and 10, and now Mason Ullman comes back on the field with Dan Neville to his left, and Ullman will keep it on the zone read with a play from Malik Flowers, and he goes down behind the line of scrimmage for a loss back to the 44. No place for Mason Ullman to go. The first man to get there was Aiden Russell, the middle linebacker, who's having a great season off the bench for the Vikings. Gavin Gerhardt was part of the mix as well. Georgie Magnejo was in as well, and it's a loss of 2.
And they've ran that play a couple times with Mason Ullman. Kind of that read there. They've had a receiver in motion, and the first couple times it's worked, but Valley City's found an answer for it.
Bring up second down and 12 for Mayville State. Again, though, in Viking territory at the 45. A throw by Marcuson. Malik Flowers caught the ball, was hit immediately as he caught it at the Viking 41, and is down to the 41 for a gain of 3. Flowers getting shifty and was able to step away from a couple of would-be tacklers, but in the end converged upon in the far edge. And here comes third down at 9 for Mayville State. I don't see them punting the football right now. The thing is, if you're the Viking offense, you haven't really done enough to determine that or to establish that you're a threat. I think the Comets will go for it on fourth down if they don't gain another yard here.
Absolutely, and obviously you're going to see kind of what their goal is on this play. See if they can get 5-6, maybe make it a bit shorter for themselves. But again, like you said, Ryan, the Viking offense hasn't shown much as far as Mayville State needs to be concerned about.
Third down and 9. Marcuson stepping into a throw. Hit, looking to go down. Quarterback sacked. The Vikings wrap him up. It'll be at the 43-yard line. And Marcuson struggling to get up after taking all kinds of punishment. Mosiah Rogers, Davao, Georgie Magnejo, Tequez Chapman there. And it will be a change of personnel. The Comets are going to punt the football as it will be stopped at the Viking 43.
And I think you pin him deep here if you're Mayville State, and then try and get good field position on your next drive. The way you've been playing on defense, aside from a couple big plays for Valley City, you're not going to mind pinning the Vikings deep here.
Michael Olson back to return the punt for the Vikings. And the kick is away from Caden Johnson. Spiraling kick. Mike Olson runs out of the way. Pro Mayville State roll. The 3, the 2, the 1, the half-yard line. Oh boy. The Vikings will have to go as far as a football can go to find the end zone as that ball spotted inside the 1 as the Vikings will take over their latest possession. 3-0 Comets, 12:31 remaining in the opening half of football on our LaRue Laco Financial scoreboard. The Vikings a bit of life on a 36-yard catch to Joe Deutsch on their last possession, but they've got to do something here.
Yeah, absolutely. Gonna be a A good spot for Mayville State here. They're probably really liking that they've pinned the Vikings deep, especially the way they've been able to neutralize their offense. You're gonna have to see Thorsgaard try and make something happen here.
He's under center here. Hard count trying to get a lurch. A flag is down. And we'll see Thorsgaard lurch out to about the 2. And we'll see what the call is going to be here. But I believe it will be offsides against Mayville State.
Yeah, it looked to be that way, Ryan.
And the Vikings would get 5 yards for free in that scenario.
Yeah, and that's going to be big for them. Obviously pinned kind of in the end zone there. Yeah, and it's going to go the Valley City State Vikings way here. They'll get a bit better field position.
So the Vikings will get 5 yards for free. And it will be 1st down and 5 coming up for the Vikings with the clock down to 12:20 to play here in the opening half of football. Vikings just looking for something to hang their hat on offensively right now and get this thing moving in the right direction. So 1st down and 5 for the Vikings after the penalty against Mayville State. And the Vikings will take all of that here in this scenario. On 1st and 5, Avery Thorsgaard blasting his way out to the 10. Nearly out for 1st down yardage in that scenario as he comes up with 4, maybe 4.5. Again, keep in mind this ball was inside the 1. They have to get to just ahead of the 10-yard line for a 1st down. And if they were to come up with points on this drive, a touchdown, it'd be 99 yards plus. I mean, the ball can't go a whole lot further than that.
No, absolutely not. And obviously that penalty on the Mayville State Comets is going to help them a little bit here. 2nd and very short. And you know Avery Thorsgaard can use his legs to pick up yardage like this.
They got to find a screen pass somewhere in here to Ligarius Marshall. Get him with the ball in some open space. 2nd down and call it 1. It'll be Thorsgaard again keeping, and Thorsgaard hit behind the 10-yard line and driven back. You would just think that there has to be something else in the playbook for the Vikings, and it took me looking at the depth chart to really see why the Viking offense has been what it has been. Of the 5 starting offensive linemen, you've got 2 freshmen and 3 sophomores, and none of them are returners. It's been learn on the job throughout the course of the year. And so for Viking fans that say, you know, why that play, why that zone read type look again? Well, you can block that, but you're not sure if you can protect your quarterback if you're trying to throw the football, and that's the problem. Ligarius Marshall straight ahead, getting low, driving forward. He may have the 1st down, but it's going to be close. They're spotting him just shy of the 11, which the spot of the original line of scrimmage was just shy of the 1. Actually, they're going to give him the 12, and that should be enough to move the chains. And, boy, there's a big sigh of relief from the Viking fans that were here because they weren't sure until that football went down. So it's 1st and 10 for the Vikings at the 12-yard line. 3-0 Comets on the LaRue-Laco Financial scoreboard. Clock moving with 10:20 to play until halftime. Thorsgaard again out of the shotgun. Now Colby Jones is his running back to his right. 4 receivers, and the shotgun snap taken. Thorsgaard found a hole, busts through it up the middle, drives his way across the 20 to 25. He'll have the 26, and there's a quick hitter for Thorsgaard. 14 yards for Avery Thorsgaard, and a Viking 1st down.
Yeah, and they've looked really good here, at least since that penalty, and being able to pick up that 1st down is going to prove huge for them here. They've manufactured quite a bit. They were in a dire spot there, especially when we weren't sure if it was going to be 4th or 1st down, and they've done a good job of getting themselves out of their own end.
From the 26, the Vikings 1st down and 10. Thorsgaard, the snap, rolling near side, going to tuck, drive up the field across the 30, up to the 33. Vikings beginning to make something happen now with Avery Thorsgaard as Thorsgaard picks up a chunk play. 7 yards for Avery Thorsgaard, and it's 2nd down and 3 coming up for Valley City State.
And when Avery Thorsgaard keeps it, they try to do that in bunches, it seems, and it proves to work there again for Valley City State. Again, now you have 2nd and manageable.
Dom Sotomayor comes in from the sideline. Jake Deutsch will join him as a wide receiver on the right side of the field. Ligarius Marshall to the right of Thorsgaard on 2nd down and 3. Thorsgaard a hand signal to his right, waiting for the snap, calling his own number again, looking to get upfield, the 35, and short there. I keep wondering, though, when we start talking about play selection for the Vikings, is when does that screen pass come in? You don't have to block that with the same veracity that you have to protect your quarterback with on a drop back pass. it seems like the Vikings would have that in their arsenal. But right now, Avery Thorsgaard's going to get underneath the center, and we all know what's coming. We call it the tush push, and Thorsgaard didn't get much of a push, but ends up driving his way to perhaps the 37. And we'll see. It does look like it should be a first down for Valley City State, but they haven't indicated anything yet. They just spotted it ahead of the 36. And if I'm Rocky Larson, I might ask for a measurement here. They indicated first down.
They're moving the chains here, Ryan. Yeah, they're going to give it to him.
They indicated first down, but I don't know if I would have been on Mayville State sideline if I'd have been all that convinced. So clock down under 8 minutes to play now in the second quarter. 3-0 Comets, 1st and 10 Vikings at the 36 and change in their own area. This drive started at the 1. Ligarius Marshall trying to drive right side, maybe found the 37 for a minimal gain of half a yard. Swallowed up in the backfield. Richard Shelton coming into the game today for the Comets. Richard Shelton from the linebacker spot. 57 tackles, 2 picks, 2 sacks. He's been sort of the most valuable player of the defense. He and Bailey Mullenberg, who blocked the field goal try for Mayville State. Bailey Mullenberg has 4 sacks on the season. Really good defensive end for the Comets.
Well, when you're not putting up points like you necessarily want to, you're going to have to rely on some of those big players on your defense here, and those two are a good example of what it takes to win games defensively for the Comets.
Explosive plays. Avery Thorsgaard in trouble. Outruns one would-be quarterback Sacker. Now going to run with the football and got upended as he got to the 40. He took a shot underneath the body that time from Dan Zeal Navy, who seems like Dan Zeal's been around for a while. Now Dan Zeal Navy goes down on the far side of the field. He came up with the hit on the far side of the field to bring down Avery Thorsgaard, and then Dan Zeal Navy popped up as if everything was good, and then went down to his knees. He was on his back for a moment, and now is going to walk off under his own power, but he was shaken up by that hit that he threw on an Avery Thorsgaard.
Yeah, it seems like he may have just got the leg a bit caught up there. Slow to get up, but walking on his own power on the sideline, and again, it's cold out there, and all those shots definitely take a bit more of a toll on you.
So here comes 3rd down and 7 for Valley City State. Clock at 6:35 to play in the half, and it's 3-0. The Vikings down by 3. 4 receivers. Vikings in a situation where you've got to throw the football, need to protect the passer, and Mayville State may be bringing the house here, and they do. They'll bring 2 linebackers on a blitz, and the pass incomplete. It was thrown quickly to Xavier Westbrook on the right side, but credit the blitz. Devon Woods out of the linebacker core. Andrew Roberts coming as well for Mayville State, and it's 4th down and 7. And the Vikings are going to have to send the punt team back out onto the field.
Yeah, dangerous pass there is by Thorsgaard, and batted down there. I believe that was Anthony Johnson, and I actually thought he had the chance to pick that one off and go the other way, but nevertheless, going to force the Vikings to punt. A decent drive for the Vikings, but again, you got to find a way to create a bit more. They just haven't been creating enough.
Well, they drove the ball 39 yards, and that could be a key change in field position based on how the first half comes to an end. Here's a punt that takes a pro Mayville State hop at the 26, rolls back to the 33. So the Comets will get to the 33, and I guess if you're looking for the silver lining, you go 3 and out and punt from your own end zone, and the Comets are looking at the end zone from inside your own 40 perhaps. Right now they're going to have to go from their own 33 with 6:13 to go in the opening half.
Yeah, Valley City saved their bacon a little bit there with a couple plays and utilizing Avery Thorsgaard a lot on that drive. Had some success, but they're going to need a little more, though, if they're going to want to start putting up some points here.
Comets will send a man in motion, and will be taken by Malik Flowers on the jet sweep. Flowers looking for a couple of blocks, stayed patient with it, was able to hop his way out of bounds ahead of the Viking 40. And the best part of that for Malik Flowers was his patience, because Loke Yese got out there, Khalil Toney was out there as well, and instead of Malik Flowers just running into them, he slowed down and waited for blocks to materialize. They did, and he picked up 8 yards.
Yeah, I think the Viking defense thought Malik Flowers was going to cut back the other way quickly, but kind of assessed the situation and elected to kind of go off onto the sideline and probably got himself an extra 2-3 yards there.
So 2nd and 8, or actually 2nd and 2 rather, on an 8-yard pickup by Malik Flowers. Comets with the ball at their own 41-yard line, leading 3-0. believe Aiden Markison is the quarterback right now for Mayville State. 3 receivers, and now a flag comes out. The Vikings wanted it, and there may have been motion from the Comets. And I don't see Marcus on the field. It's Mason Ullman taking the snaps. And apparently Mayville State called a timeout before the penalty. Well, gives us an opportunity to talk about what's coming up next for the Vikings in the future. Lots of things happening here. Now, we mentioned we will have volleyball later today, so that's not on your screen right now for those of you that are taking in our video coverage at newsdakota.com and the VCSU Athletics YouTube channel. But we do have volleyball tonight as the Vikings will take on Dort, Iowa in a non-conference matchup over at Gratian Gym. But next week, our next event is going to be on Wednesday night, doubleheader. First time that we get the doubleheader in the weekday against the University of Minnesota Morris for the Viking basketball teams. Viking men with an interesting win, to say the least, on Thursday. Down 10-0 to start, then led by 22, then led by as few as 5. Cross country coming to an end of the conference on November 8th, with the championships to be held here in Valley City. We mentioned next week, volleyball, likely Dickinson State. Football is Dickinson State. And basketball after that with Dakota Wesleyan. So some fun things coming up there. 2nd down and 2 out of the Mayville State timeout. And the ball will be carried by Mason Ullman, taking the snap across the 40 to the 44. And the Comets will have a 1st down on a pickup of 3 yards for Mason Ullman as Levi Olson makes the stop for the Vikings.
And Mayville hasn't minded running that play through Ullman a bunch of times today, and especially in short yardage. Not surprised they went back to it.
Just taking you through what I took a look at earlier today in the depth charts. And I don't really focus in on this a lot. You just kind of take a look at, who's playing and that type of thing. But that offensive line, when you look at it, Jonah Larson's a freshman. He's a tackle. Guard, center guard, Reese Wilprecht, Bryce Prouty, Tommy Cox, sophomores. Zach Kuzny as a freshman, playing a tackle spot. Mason Ullman takes the snap for Mayville State, breaking the tackle as he got to the 48 to midfield. And Gavin Garthart brings him down after a gain of perhaps 7. And you look at the other positions. Xavier Westbrook's a sophomore. Jake Deutsch is a sophomore. Dominic Sotomayor is a junior. The only senior that's out there playing for Valley City State offensively is Avery Thorsgaard, starting quarterback. Defensively, Georgie Magnejo is a senior. Loke Yese is a senior. Mike Olson is a senior. There's only 4 seniors in this entire lineup for Valley City State, and it's one of the reasons why, obviously, they're having some struggles this year. Isaiah Smith, Mason Ullman. Ullman got tripped up as Isaiah Smith faked the jet sweep motion with him, and then Ullman went down and took a little pop from Georgia Magnejo on the end of that as well. That'll be a big loss on the play of 4 back to the 46. Here's 3rd and 2. Viking defense trying to get itself off the field and stay within 3 as the halftime break approaches.
Yeah, I think Ullman wanted a little penalty there on Georgia Magnejo. Kind of got popped after he tripped, kind of gave up on the play, didn't really attempt to get back up, and then got popped. But third and long here for Mayville State.
Markison back in to take the snap for the Comets. Men to his right and left. He takes the snap, dropping back, good time, throws, and it's picked off. It's taken away near side of the field. Loke Yese with a takeaway. And the Vikings work inside the Comet 20 on the first turnover of the football game.
One of those seniors you were talking about, Ryan. Loke Yese. Bad throw there by the quarterback, and really no chance for the receiver.
Take a look at it on the newsdakota.com replay. Markison had time, drops back, and Loke Yese just drumped the route. And Yese's off to the races. He'll take it down to the 17-yard line. And the Vikings have something to work with in the latter stages of the opening half. It's a 3-0 game. Mayville State with a field goal lead. The Vikings are at the 17-yard line after the takeaway by Loke Yese, looking at 1st down and 10. It'll be given to Legarius Marshall, looking to jump right side and come back middle. He's to the 15 for a short gain of 2. Bailey Mullenberg was in there to disrupt it right away. Mayville State got some support from Marcus Johnson, a sophomore defensive lineman out of Kelleher, Minnesota. 2nd and 8 Vikings.
You got to be responsible here if you're Valley City State. You don't want to take yourself out of field goal range here with the chance to tie it going into the halftime break. But then again, you want to get aggressive here and
Need a touchdown.
Absolutely.
Didn't have one last week. I had the bye week before that, right? I mean, it's been a while since the Vikings found the end zone. Thorsgaard looking left, swallowed up at the 15. No chance to go anywhere. Covered up by Devon Woods out of that linebacker spot again. He had company in the backup with A.J. Archambault, a defensive lineman, and another Comet injury. Well, you're getting to that stage of the season in a physical sport like football where things are going to get re-aggravated. Marcus Johnson, the man we were just talking about, defensive lineman out of Kelleher, rolled over on the near side of the field. And while that goes on, it looks like he's going to be okay. He just walks off the field. But the Vikings have got to, they've got to come up with a play. They've got to target the end zone here at some point.
Yeah, absolutely. And like you said, they haven't really scored a touchdown in a while here, Ryan. The end zone's becoming a foreign feeling to them.
They scored against Jamestown, and so it's been, to the halftime, we're talking about 2.5 weeks since they found the end zone. Right now, one of those was a week off for the bye week. Did not get a touchdown last week against Dakota State despite 3 trips inside the 10. And so it's been a while, and they need a touchdown just for confidence at this point. Kaiua Nishigaya comes into the game for the Vikings as a running back to the left of Thorsgaard on 3rd down and 8. He'll be there to pick up a blitzing linebacker from Mayville State. That should be his job, maybe to run a screen route. 3 receivers, twins to the right. Mayville State jumping, Mayville State lurching, whistle. Do we have a timeout taken? I would assume that's what's taking place. Did they say timeout, Vikings?
I believe so.
Oh, no, it's the 2-minute timeout. They reset the clock to 2 minutes. The 2-minute timeout. So it's the 2-minute timeout. We'll keep it here for this one. Timeout brought to you by Mobility Plus Rehabilitation. Boy, this is such a key sequence in the season right now for Valley City State. And you go back and wonder, this Viking team scored 38 points against the University of Jamestown, and they're going back and forth with quarterback a little bit. I'm not sure. I mean, what's the word? Is Noah Chambers injured? I don't think he is. We haven't been told that he is. And so I kind of wonder if, he hasn't seen the field. And the Vikings were using Avery Thorsgaard and Noah Chambers so well together to kind of throw change-ups and fastballs and that type of thing. And it's been all Avery, and it's up to him to try to get this team down the field on 3rd down and 8 from the Comet 15-yard line. Vikings after a takeaway trying to challenge Jake Deutsch. Comes in motion to the near side of the field. A drop back, Thorsgaard looking for Deutsch, corner of the end zone, overshot him. He had to force the throw. He had Avery Thorsgaard open. 4th down, I would expect the Viking field goal unit to come out and try to tie the football game, and here they come. Well, if the interception can get you 3, and you can get in the locker room and feel good about being tied, that's better than being down 3-0. So you take that. And Evan Lorenzo will come onto the field to attempt his 2nd field goal try. The first one was from 48. This one's from 32. The first was blocked. Out of the hold of Thorsgaard, Lorenzo's a lefty. Good snap, hold down. Kick on its way, plenty of leg, looks accurate, and it is no good. He missed it wide left. And the interception by Loke Yese nets nothing. And the Vikings will give it back to Mayville State at the Comet 20-yard line.
Tough break for the Vikings, obviously, on that interception by Loke Yese. We got a...
This is a stunned Viking crowd right now. It really is. It's been a long time since the Viking home football crowd has seen their team struggle like this week after week offensively. And obviously that creates a little bit of unrest when you're down there in the stands. And you think you're going to get a field goal out of that and tie the game, and you're down 3-0 at this point, and the Comets coming back onto the field with Jack Simmers and crew.
Well, and to add another possession in the red zone with no points, Ryan.
Yeah, not inside the 10, but like you mentioned, inside the red zone. 3 receivers, Simmers taking the snap on 1st down. Near side of the field, gets spun down to around the 21. And a little bit of extracurriculars there between JV and Davison and Gavin Gerhardt. And I believe the Comets have called for timeout. Simmers is down to the 21. Actually, the Vikings have called for timeout. They want the ball back. So I like this. The Vikings have 2 timeouts left to use. And so I like this approach, as the Vikings will call for a timeout, try to get it back. What I noticed here is that the board has the Comets with 1 timeout left to use. So they've taken 2. 1 was for the challenge. The challenge was ruled successful, but they may still get penalized that timeout for taking the challenge.
Well, yeah, and
I would think, based on the just common sense rule, that if you're going to challenge a play and it's successful, you should get your timeout back.
that is how it is. And I know in, obviously, NHL hockey, you challenge, you actually take a penalty. You're on the penalty kill. So, yeah, it's weird that a successful challenge doesn't result in in getting your timeout back. But, yeah, I like this idea here by Dennis McCullough. Try and get the ball back and
Be
tie this
aggressive,
thing.
yeah.
That's right. Absolutely. You can't take those timeouts into half.
Mason Ullman will come back in to take the snap here. He'll give to Javian Davison on the jet sweep, who's looking to turn the corner. Stiff arms Mike Olson the face, and Davison gets knocked out of bounds on the far side of the field. He went out of bounds on that, so that should stop the clock without a timeout being taken. And if the Vikings get a stop here on 3rd down, that's an absolute gift for the Vikings to get with Javian Davison staying in bounds.
Absolutely. Probably want to stay in bounds here if you're the Comets regardless, so that Valley City's forced to take another timeout. But again, this is 3rd and manageable. We've seen Mayville State come up with these before. Big stop here needed by the Vikings.
Yeah, this is kind of where the Vikings have struggled with their defense in the past, has been the situation involving these 3rd down conversion opportunities. And now I believe the Comets have decided to use a timeout. And they do confirm it's the final timeout of the half for Mayville State, so we'll take one as well before an important 3rd down situation coming up here. The Vikings down 3-0, 1:35 left on the LaRue Lacko Financial scoreboard. We have a timeout for Mobility Plus Rehabilitation. More Viking football on the way next.
When you're craving the taste of juicy, flavorful, locally sourced beef and pork, look no further than your locally owned Valley Meat Supply. At Valley Meat Supply, we take pride in bringing you the finest cuts of beef and pork straight from local producers. So whether you're planning a mouth-watering barbecue or a cozy family meal, choose Valley Meat Supply for the highest quality, locally grown beef, pork, and award-winning jerky, sticks, and sausage. Valley Meat Supply, West Main, Valley City. Your taste buds will thank you.
Welcome back to Viking football. 3-0 Comets with $1:35 left to play here in the opening half. The Vikings looking to get the football back. 3rd down and 8. Mayville State, their own 22. Javian Davison, jet sweep motion. Mason Ullman, the carry, driving forward to the 28. Vikings call timeout. And I don't know. It'll be 4th down and 2. The Vikings use their 2nd timeout. I've had the opportunity to get to know Rocky Larson over the last few years at Mayville State fairly well. Called a couple of games that were not games against Valley City State that Mayville State was in. This is a guy that went for 2 twice in double overtime against Nebraska Wesleyan. The first time around, it was no good and there was a penalty. And he went for 2 again on his home field. He loves to dial it up. And it defies all conventional wisdom that the Comets would send their offense back on the field on their own 28 on a 4th down and 2. But when you've limited the damage that the Vikings can do, and you feel like you might be able to get a stop, the ball's out of the 28, you gave it to the Vikings for a 45-yard field goal try at the end of the half. I wouldn't be surprised if Rocky Larson sends his offense back out on the field here.
Well, before that Viking timeout, excuse me, it did look like yes, and they're coming back out. I think that's
Caden Johnson's going to come out to kick the football.
Oh, that's right. Okay.
So, I don't know. I think Coach Larson from Mayville State has a white devil hanging out on one shoulder and a blue devil hanging out on the other one. He just doesn't know which one. But one has good advice and one doesn't.
Well, I think this is the smart play here, Ryan. I think this is the play you need to make here up by 3 in this first half.
It's the right thing to do, but again, I would have seen it going the other way, and I wouldn't have been surprised. Johnson, end-over-end kick. Mike Olson will fair catch it at the 36. And so a minute 20. The Vikings have that 1 timeout to use as the jet sweep with Javian Davison went out of bounds. So the Vikings need to go 36 yards in a minute 20 seconds or at least get down the field to try a field goal. Now, we saw Evan's leg, Evan Lorenzo. I would think the Vikings need to get to about the 20 to feel comfortable with a field goal try. That would put you at 37 yards. So maybe the 23, put it at 40, cap it there. And so you've got to make your way about 50 yards at some point for the Vikings in a minute and 20 seconds with one timeout to use.
Yeah, you're going to see the arm for Thorsgaard here a bit more.
4 receivers. Kayua Nishigaya is the running back again for Valley City State. He's a good pass catcher, which may be why he's in the game. Thorsgaard dropping back, throws to the left of Dom Sotomayor, incomplete. And Dom's frustrated. Dom Sotomayor, you can see on your screen there, is talking to Avery saying, I'm going to the sideline. I'm not going to the interior. And that's an odd conversation for those two to be having in week 8 of the football season. You'd think there would be a little bit of a development of a relationship there, but Dom was unhappy as he got up off the field on that play.
Yeah, he's popped right up after the missed throw, and kind of lucky that wasn't picked off. Kind of in no man's land there. Dom didn't really have much of a chance on it.
One deep safety here for Mayville State. They drop back to cover, though, 8 in coverage, and Avery Thorsgaard looking for somebody to throw to, shovels one out to the near side for Kayua Nishigaya, who gets out of bounds on the Viking sideline at the 42. Unique little shovel pass there, and it's a gain of perhaps 8 yards. Looks like they'll spot it around the 43. Give him 7, so it's 3rd and 3, and it stops the clock with a minute and 10 seconds left. Here's a big 3rd down.
I'll tell you what, that is a very, very good play by Thorsgaard. Very underrated, especially if they're going to get points here. Good shovel pass to Nishigaya.
3rd down and 2. Thorsgaard dropping back and hit Nishigaya with the screen pass, and he didn't catch it. Boy, oh boy. Vikings going to have to punt. They used 13 seconds of game clock. And we'll give it back to Mayville State with...
Oh, they leaving the... Nope, they're coming off now.
I can't imagine. There's some frustration on that Viking sideline. As you read the body language, there are some guys talking to each other down there, and there are some things that aren't right now on that Viking sideline. You can tell. That's one that Nishigaya has to catch. It wasn't a perfectly thrown ball, but you're trying to pick up a 1st down. You got to catch that ball. Vikings don't get the catch there. And Jim Miller, freshman linebacker out of Fargo, will come on to punt. Sidewinding kick. Isaiah Smith from the 25, dropped at the 29. Good open field tackle by Khalil Toney. Be officially at the 30 with an even minute to go. Comets are out of timeouts. And I don't know if I would want to be in the Viking locker room coming up here at halftime, Jaden. I really don't.
No, there's going to be a lot to talk about. I think that last drive or attempt at a drive that they just had, a couple miscommunications, and just not looking comfortable, Ryan. And like you said, we're week 8 here. Mistakes are being made that really shouldn't be getting made.
Take a look at the total yardage today for the Vikings. Mayville State 26 plays, the Vikings 25. I don't see the total yardage that can. Oh, here it is, 85 to 87. I mean, neither team has a lot of offense, and we're going to see some of it come off the board here for the Comets as they take a knee to start running the clock. So it's been an anemic offensive day. Comets on the board with that field goal, but right now you saw the Mayville State players coming off the sideline. The thing is they were coming off the sideline. They feel like they're in the game. Okay, it's 3-0. That's the difference of 3 points, right? You come off the field after that drive. If you're the Vikings, we saw some guys turning their heads, looking back and forth, talking to each other, and that's the difference in the way that this thing feels at this point. Comets take a second knee with Aiden Markison. And we're headed to the locker room in a 3-0 game in favor of Mayville State. And a really, really tough first half of football, I think, for everybody around. So some work to do in the second 30 minutes. But at the end of the opening half, your score on the LaRue Laco Financial scoreboard is the Comets 3, the Vikings 0. Our halftime report is presented by Rambo. We're in the business of making you look good at Rambo. We'll come back with a couple of highlights from the first half of football. And for those of you that are with us here today through halftime, we'll have a look at Fox News and our regional news headlines as well. and bring you back to the second half as well. But first, some headlines and some highlights. Our highlights from the matchup coming up next. This is Viking football.
At CHI Mercy Health, we believe human kindness is at the root of all healing, providing care on a human level, courage when it's needed most, and a connection that's ever present among us all. Human kindness is meant to be shared. It puts a smile on someone's face and seeks to do the same for others. Take the time to nourish what's inside and watch your life flourish outside, because taking care of yourself is an act of human kindness. Just like human kindness, happiness can come from the most unexpected places. Whether it's from your friend, your dog, or a memory, embrace it and pass it on. CHI Mercy Health of Valley City.
Hi, this is Clint from Central Avenue Health Mart Pharmacy in beautiful downtown Valley City, your only locally owned pharmacy since 1989. When you're locally owned, you care about your community and your customers. We offer a great selection of gifts and toys, as well as yarns, fabrics, sewing, and crafting. We are here for you from 9 to 5:30 weekdays and Saturdays 9 to 1. For all your pharmaceutical needs, give us a call, 845-5280.
Health Mart, taking time to listen and care.
Sanford Health of Valley City is dedicated to transforming your healthcare experience and providing access to world-class healthcare right here in America's heartland. We're committed to improving the human condition at every stage of life through exceptional care, spiritual enhancement, innovation, and discovery. Schedule your appointment today at Sanford Health of Valley City by calling 701-845-6000 or self-schedule online at mysanfordchart.org. Sanford Health, here for all, here for good.
Experience the thrill, feel the passion, and join the excitement. Tickets on sale now at VCSUVikings.com.
Lang hard to the basket with a two-hand flush. He burst through it. He's to the end zone. Touchdown, Valley City State.
Here's the game-winning shot. Does it go? Yes, it does!
Nelson on the attack. Holland can't make the play. The Vikings sweep the Jimmy.
When your team, school, or business needs custom apparel or promotional products, Rambo is here to help. With over 40 years of industry-leading experience, state-of-the-art machines, and dedicated employees, we have the tools and facility to handle any job. With online ordering solutions for sports teams and businesses alike, you can count on us to get the job done correctly and on time. To get your next project started, contact Matt or visit us online at rambo.com.
Well, we welcome you back to our coverage of Viking football today here on the Voice of the Valley and the Voice of the Vikings, KOVC. Also on newsdakota.com with our video coverage, and also video coverage at the VCSU Athletics YouTube channel. 3-0 at halftime. Halftime report brought to you by Rambo. We're in the business of making you look good. Rambo is your headquarters for all of your promotional items and your promotional apparel. If it's time to promote your team, if it's time to promote your business, you need Rambo. Trade shows coming up, they have you covered. Season coming up, they have you covered with that as well. And they do quality work, and they get it done for you fast at Rambo. We're in the business of making you look good. Ryan Cunningham, Jaden Babiak, Ellie Tombarsh today from Lockett Stadium and Shelley Ellick Field. And there's no way to describe it. Just an absolutely anemic first half offensively. The Comets have a field goal. The Comets packed a couple of explosive plays. The Vikings won on a turnover, but nobody's been able to find the end zone. And beyond that, Jaden, it's hard to figure out how somebody's going to find the end zone. That's when you start running through the options in your mind. I think the only way it happens is in the second half. The Viking offensive line comes to play. They protect their passer, and they give the Vikings a chance to find a couple of those stretch plays. That's really what's going to take in the second half.
Well, you were talking about the youth of this Vikings offensive line, and there are going to be some growing pains in that. And I think that half we counted up the seniors on the field at one time, and it was 4. So
4 in the total lineup to include the 2s.
That's right.
Okay, so on the depth chart, when you take a look at a Viking depth chart, and you have 22 on each side of the ball, so that's 44, right? You've got 11 1s and you've got 11 2s. And I think I counted 4 on the depth chart. Certainly in the 22 starters, they've got 4 seniors and only 1 on the offensive side, and that's Avery Thorsgaard.
Right, and you're going to see some growing pains with that. And, yeah, you'd like that O-line to step up. You'd like to see some more explosive plays from the Vikings. And I think Dennis McCulloch's going to have a lot to talk about at halftime with his team. Settle them down. You're only a possession out of this game. It's really coming down to a field goal. and you know Evan Lorenzo already missed one, so this very well could be a 3-3 ball game. There's no need to panic if you're the Vikings, but there's definitely a need to make some adjustments and figure out how you're going to come out better this second half.
And the worrisome part about it was that at the end of the first half, there was visible frustration from the Vikings, and it seemed like it was beginning to spill over with one another. You had the issue with Dom Sotomayor going one way, the throw going the other, ball that hit Kayua Nishigaya, and he didn't reel it in. And I think there were some guys that were beginning now to say, okay, you need to, and we don't like the finger-pointing type of thing. When that starts to creep in, that's something that a coach has to deal with right away, and that's what they're going through right now in that Viking locker room at this point.
For sure. And I think, honestly, for Dennis McCullough, for that drive to be the most fresh on the memory allows everyone to kind of go through it. Okay, what did we do wrong? That is really the culmination of a very frustrating first half. And let's reset here. Let's get back to what has worked in the past for us. We saw them put up 38 against Jamestown. They have the ability to score, but they just got to figure it out here in this second half.
Let's take a look at some of our highlights that we had, and we only had a couple to show you from the first half of football. This one comes in on a big play by the defense early as Mayville State was driving. You see that play blown up by Tequez Chapman on a draw up the middle. That forced an eventual Comet field goal try that put them up by 3-0, but they had driven and done some nice things. And then this had the ability to change the game. The Vikings didn't capitalize, but Loke Yese picking off a pass that came from Aiden Markinson on the near side of the field. He got the thing down in striking distance for the Vikings, but the Vikings end up coming away with 0 points on that. That included a missed field goal that was wide left from Evan Lorenzo. And so despite a couple of nice defensive plays by the Vikings, no points to show for it. As far as the numbers that we have for you at the end of the opening half, both teams 29%, 2 of 7 on third downs. Neither even attempted a play on a fourth down. The Vikings ended up outgaining Mayville State 85-80 in total yardage, but both totals extremely low. And the Comets took 2 knees for a 10-yard loss at the end of the opening half just to run out the clock. Vikings 52 yards rushing, Comets 27. As far as the passing yardage was concerned, actually, rather, that was the passing yardage, 52-27 in favor of Valley City State. The rushing numbers, Vikings ran it 16 times, the Comets 24. Vikings 33 yards rushing, the Comets 53 yards rushing. Individual numbers, they've got Dylan Lamont taking snaps for Mayville State. He's not. That's Aiden Markinson. That I think threw the football 3 times, or completed 3 out of 4, 27 yards and a pick. Mason Allman, 12 carries, 33 yards for Mayville State. Malik Flowers, 2 carries for 21 yards. Avery Thorsgaard, 4 of 9, throwing the football for 52. Thorsgaard, 11 rushes for 28 yards. Jake Deutsch, a catch for 36. That's the biggest play of the half, really, for either team so far. Deutsch and Loke Yese with the 2 big plays for the Vikings in the first half of football.
Yeah, it's been a battle in the trenches. Not a lot of big plays, not a lot of creativity, obviously, by either team. Valley City utilizing Avery Thorsgaard's legs a lot in that first half. Kind of had to hurry up the throw on that last drive there, and I think that's where they saw some confusion. But I'd like to see them mix it up a little bit, get some different looks. You talked about the screen pass to Marshall. Get him in space. He has not had a good day rushing so far here, so you're going to want to see them make some adjustments and switch some things up.
So that'll be our first half summary. Again, it's brought to you by Rambo. We're in the business of making you look good. We're going to take a break. For those of you that are with us, we'll come back to get the second half started in a moment. But first, some updates with our Fox News headlines and some regional news headlines as well as we make our way through halftime. And then our second half of Viking football is on the way. The Vikings trail on the LaRue Laco Financial scoreboard. It's the Comets 3 and the Vikings nothing. Second half on the way in just a bit here in Viking football. Stay with us.
Fan of Viking and Highliner Athletics has been serving North Dakota, South Dakota, and Minnesota with quality logoed apparel and promotional products since 1979. With online store options built to meet the needs of your company, organization, or team, Rambo will ensure that the process of ordering is easy and accurate and that your items are received on time. When you're ready to put your logo to work, give Matt a call at 701-680-9585. Rambo, we're in the business of making you look good.
At CHI Mercy Health, we believe human kindness is at the root of all healing, providing care on a human level, courage when it's needed most, and a connection that's ever present among us all. Human kindness is meant to be shared. It puts a smile on someone's face and seeks to do the same for others. Take the time to nourish what's inside and watch your life flourish outside, because taking care of yourself is an act of human kindness. Just like human kindness, happiness can come from the most unexpected places. Whether it's from your friend, your dog, or a memory, embrace it and pass it on. CHI Mercy Health of Valley City.
Are you on the right financial path? Are all your financial professionals on the same page? At LaRue Laco Financial, you can be assured that your investment professional and tax professional are working together. Call Ryan LaRue or Chase Carpenter at 701-845-6938. Securities offered through LPL Financial. Member FINRA, SIPC.
Why choose Professional Eye Care Centers? 3 great reasons are Dr. Bond, Dr. Freilich, and Dr. Atwood. 3 of the most educated professional optometrists you'll ever meet. Next is their great selection. Have they got frames? Over 1,000 pair for you to try. So many on hand that you'll want a pair for every outfit. And yes, all of their frames and lenses are backed up by warranty. Visit ProEyeCareCenters.com and make an appointment today. In Valley City, Jamestown, or Carrington. Professional Eye Care Centers. Clearly the best.
I'm Pam Puso. A battleground blitz. Before heading to Georgia and North Carolina, Vice President Kamala Harris spoke to reporters in Milwaukee about her vision for the economy.
It is my plan and intention to continue to invest in American manufacturing, the work being done by American workers, upholding and lifting up good union jobs.
Former President Trump is campaigning right now in North Carolina. Earlier, he phoned in to Fox and Friends Weekend.
She's the worst ever on the border. And Border Patrol endorsed me, with the best. They say he's the greatest president we've ever had. We give him full endorsement. And they said she's the worst.
Mr. Trump is heading to Virginia later today, where polls have him trailing the vice president. America is listening to Fox News.
Shop early, save big, all month long during Black Friday build-up at Lowe's. Right now, get select pre-lit artificial Christmas trees starting at just $59.98. Don't wait to save. Shop these deals today, in-store or online, because Lowe's knows deals. Discount taken at time of purchase while supplies last. Selection varies by location.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today? Sounds like wipers. If your wipers are streaking, skipping, chattering, or even worse, loud, you need to visit AutoZone and get some fresh new blades. We've got basic wipers to get you back on the road, as well as premium blades from Bosch and Rain-X. So if you're hearing this, just head to your nearest AutoZone or AutoZone.com.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
With a check of regional news this hour, I'm Ryan Cunningham. A park in western North Dakota that owed its name to a United States military officer involved in the massacre of 2 Sioux Nation villages in the late 19th century has been renamed Rough Rider State Park. The recreation site is located near Medora, and Theodore Roosevelt National Park borders the Little Missouri River. It was formerly named Sully Creek State Park after Sully Creek, which runs through the property. The creek, in turn, was named after Alfred Sully, who served as a U.S. Brigadier General during the American Indian Wars. The name Rough Rider State Park is in honor of Theodore Roosevelt and the famed volunteer cavalry he led during the Spanish-American War. The new name coincides with a $4 million project to expand and improve the park. State legislature approved the plan in 2023. It'll grow the campsites from 40 to 70. Other upgrades include adding individual corrals for campers with horses and a new shower house that will double as a storm shelter. Park serves as a trailhead for the Mattahay. Theodore Roosevelt has himself been criticized for holding racist beliefs as well as for his aggressive support of United States expansion. A 3-year-old boy who was struck Wednesday by a vehicle in Mandan has died. The incident was first reported at an address in the northwest portion of the city. The driver of the vehicle was allegedly unaware the child was out of the vehicle and the child was struck. Mandan police officers responded, giving life-saving aid. The child was transported by Metro ambulance to an area hospital where he was pronounced dead. His name has not been released. Police are still actively investigating and are being assisted by the North Dakota Highway Patrol. Meanwhile, 2 vehicles were heavily damaged. No one hurt in a Fargo crash that caused one of the vehicles to roll on its side. Happened at 52nd Avenue South in Fargo. Police say a driver did not yield to traffic after stopping at the intersection, collided with an eastbound vehicle. The driver of a vehicle that rolled needed help getting out. One driver cited for failure to yield. Eastbound traffic was backed up to I-29 on 27th Street for about 45 minutes during the crash. We'll have more regional news after this.
Next on our Corn Hall of Fame tour, Pioneer brand Power Core Enlist Corn.
Ooh, look at all the trophies.
Yes, Power Core Enlist wins in the field with an advanced combination of exclusive genetics, plus 3 distinct modes of action for long-lasting protection against above-ground pests and unsurpassed flexibility.
Whoa, this one says superior yield potential.
Don't touch, Billy.
Start your best year yet. Visit pioneer.com/no-pests.
Whether it's turning into high school football games, monitoring the patterns of incoming storms, or catching your favorite talk show, these are just some of the ways listeners depend on North Dakota's AM radio stations. And we need your help. Text AM 52886 and tell Congress to keep AM radio in cars. This ad is aired by the North Dakota Broadcasters Association and this station.
A West Fargo man was arrested in the Dairy Queen drive-thru line after police say he was driving under the influence. Happened on Sunday. Fargo police responded to reports of an impaired driver. They said the driver was driving erratically, almost hit several vehicles. Police caught up to 27-year-old Jordan Dietz in the drive-thru line of Dairy Queen and arrested him for driving under the influence. And what was thought to be human remains in the Ottertail River turned out to be Halloween decorations. The Ottertail County Sheriff's Office said deputies were called 6:30 Wednesday. A report of possible human remains in the river west of the Fergus Falls city limits. Investigators from the Police Department, Minnesota Bureau of Criminal Apprehension, and the Sheriff's Office found the remains, determined they were Halloween decorations that had been in the river for an extended period of time. It doesn't appear that further investigation is going to take place. That is the latest in regional news. With a check of regional news this hour, I'm Ryan Cunningham.
Here's your forecast from Ag Central meteorologist Mick Kerr. This afternoon, sunny with a high of 48 and a southeast wind gusting at 20 at times. For tonight, rain likely mainly after 1 a.m. Sunday morning. Increasing clouds with a low around 36. Chance of rain about 60%. Amounts less than 1/10 of an inch. There's your forecast. For more, log on to our website, newsdakota.com.
Lever's Foods, best quality, best price. Lever's Foods, best service, they're nice. Lever's Foods, they make everything right. Lever's Foods.
All this week at Lever's Foods in Valley City, save big on hamburger or tuna helper, 2 for $2.87. Tombstone pizzas, 2 for $7.87. Our Family chunk, shredded or natural sliced cheese, just $1.87 each. And boneless beef bottom roast, only $4.87 a pound. Delivery is available by calling 845-1732. Lever's Foods, Valley City.
Grotberg Electric believes in quality first, taking pride in the work and standing behind every project they do. They bring together the power, technology, and experience to keep your business online. The success of Grotberg Electric depends on 3 major ideals: the quality of their products, the commitment to their customers, and most of all, their customer service. Call Grotberg Electric today at 845-3010 or visit them online, grotbergelectric.com. Welcome back to Viking football here on the Voice of the Vikings and the Voice of the Valley, KOVC, newsdakota.com with our video coverage, and also with the VCSU Athletics YouTube channel, where they're not missing offense today between the University of North Dakota and Indiana State. 6 minutes to go, third quarter, and Indiana State leads UND 35-28 with 6 minutes left to go in the third quarter, so it's a complete opposite. Well, what we're dealing with there as we take a look at some of the scores that we have for you today on the LaRue-Lacko Financial Scoreboard. We'll run down some of the scoreboard for you that we have for you today. And we'll take a look, first of all, at the Missouri Valley Football Conference and see what's happening there. As we mentioned, 35-28, Indiana State with a 7-point lead late third. In the first, Youngstown State is ahead of Illinois State 2-0. a safety for Youngstown State. Isn't that something? 35-28 and 2-0. This game's freaky, man. It's all confusing. Missouri State, Southern Illinois. They're knotted up, no score early first quarter. South Dakota State, the Jacks on top of Murray State, 7-0. And later, 2:30 ESPN Plus, it's NDSU and Northern Iowa as North Dakota State continues to take some steps. Top 25 college football today on our LaRue Lago Financial scoreboard. How about the showdown they're having in Happy Valley, right? Ohio State leading Penn State 20-13. That's the Buckeyes ranked 4th. Nittany Lions ranked 3rd in that matchup. Miami and Duke are in a game that shouldn't be close. 46-31 Miami by 15. Ole Miss is upset about how their season has gone. They scored 28 points second quarter, and the 19th ranked Rebels lead Arkansas 63-24. And really, not a lot good comes out of Arkansas. As a guy who spent time in Mississippi, I can tell you this. Minnesota leading Illinois, 24th ranked team in the country, 22-17. Later today, 2:30 they get started. Oregon, the top ranked team of the nation. Boy, that sounds odd to say, doesn't it? The Ducks are the number 1 ranked team in the country. They get Michigan today in Michigan at the Big House. Florida's at Georgia today. We'd like to thank the Gators for participating in today's football game. Georgia's already won it. Iowa State will take on Texas Tech. That's the 11th ranked Cyclones. Indiana's at Michigan State, ranked 13th. And tonight it's number 10 Texas A&M and South Carolina. Those will be some of the matchups that we'll be watching tonight. Here, Vikings down 3-0 to Mayville State as we get ready to start the second half of football, and we'll see if either of these teams figure out the offense. As Caden Johnson kicks it away for the Vikings, this kick will go into the end zone. The wind is beginning to aid the ball going down the field, so the Vikings are going to have the ball to start the third, the wind in the fourth, and the Vikings currently trailing by a score of 3-0 in the matchup.
Well, let's see what adjustments they're going to come out of halftime with. It's going to be Avery Thorsgaard to start here for the Vikings, staying in the game. We thought, we'd see a little bit of Noah Chambers, and, you'd think what better time than early when you need some adjustments. Speaking of adjustments, the camera there.
I was just checking something out. And then Ellie Tombar seized up in fear, but it turns out it's okay. We got it all taken care of. And it'll be Avery Thorsgaard, as you mentioned, first down and 10 for the Vikings. Thorsgaard, his own number again, and again, the same result. Tackled shy of the 30. The line of scrimmage was the 30-yard line. He's down for about a 2-yard loss as that play is blown up by Andrew Roberts from the little linebacker spot for Mayville State, and that's the way the second half begins. Second down and 12 for the Vikings.
And again, went back to Avery Thorsgaard on the ground. Kind of similar to what we've been seeing a lot of this game for the Vikings. You'd think at a halftime we'd see something a little different maybe, but again, they're going to have to claw and scratch for every yard here.
Yeah, second down and 12 for Valley City State. Thorsgaard with 4 receivers, and they will send Legarius Marshall in motion, throw a screen pass to him, but nobody there to block. Marshall trying to struggle forward and is down around the 22. That'll be a loss of another yard or perhaps 2 as Marshall is taken out on the near side of the football field. Good flow from Jared Gay. That's the nose guard that got all the way out to the perimeter, and they've got Marshall down to the 20. So a 5-yard loss on 2 plays for the Vikings, and it's 3rd and 15.
Yeah, not the start you want out of halftime from the Vikings. And
if they don't convert here, they're punting into this wind, and this is a meaningful time in the football game now. Thorsgaard waiting out of the shotgun. Dom Sotomayor in motion from left to right, forming 3 receivers right side for the Vikings. Thorsgaard throwing screen. Sotomayor in the comeback screen down at around the 24. Makes the catch. It's a gain of 4, but it's 4th and 11. And Mayville State's job going to force a 3-and-out on the Vikings right out of the chute.
Yeah, and we're going to see the punt team come out here for Valley City. And like you said, Ryan, that wind picking up a little bit here. Definitely felt a little bit heavier, at least from when we were down there kind of on the concourse. And yeah, it's gonna get interesting here. Good field position probably coming up here for Mayville.
Jim Miller put a leg into one. He's got the ability to keep it low and drive it, and he does. This will be a sidewinding kick. Isaiah Smith picks it up at the Comet 42, runs back to the 40, and then steps forward to the 43, and that's where he's down. So it'll be 1st and 10 in favor of Mayville State at the 43-yard line their own. And the first possession for the Comets has the opportunity to get down the field and make this a two-score game. They lead it by a score of 3-0. And, you know, you thought maybe you'd see something there from the Vikings to show us, you know, they're going to come out there and they're not going to make any changes, that's for sure. They decided to keep things kind of status quo in that first possession.
Yeah, it looked very similar to what they were doing first half, and the lights have actually come on here at Shelley Ellig Field. Again, we talked about visibility in the pregame as Mayville State hands it off here.
Right side. This is a big carry for Dan Neville, who hurt the Vikings badly the first time around, and Neville's up to the Viking 40-yard line, a pickup of 18 yards for Dan Neville. He had 133 yards rushing against the Vikings the first time around. That's his first carry today, and he's at the Viking 39.
Yeah, and a good first carry at that. Very explosive there.
He was on the field in the first half, but didn't get the ball. They used him in some different ways. They didn't really kind of bring him into the fold as far as a ball carrier. So Mayville State maybe feels like they've got one weapon left they haven't used yet.
Well, and you talk about, you know, they're on their 4th, 5th string quarterback. They're going to try and get creative here. It's definitely a very different playbook from when they would have expected at the beginning of the year.
Allman his own number out of the jet sweep motion with Javian Davidson, and Ullman plunges across the 35 to the 33. It's a gain of 6 yards for Mason Ullman. Georgia Magnejo, another stop up there for the Vikings, and it's 2nd down and 4. Opening possession of the second half, and the Vikings currently trailing 3-0 in Mayville State with the football.
And Mayville State has used Ullman quite frequently today. They've liked that kind of read option that they've been running with him, and then sometimes they'll hand it off to Malik Flowers coming kind of on a jet sweep. And
they've only given it to Javian Davison once. They haven't targeted Javian Davidson in the passing game at all today. Ullman will give it away. This is a sweep again for Neville jetting near side. He's out of bounds at around the 30. Should be close to a first down. Not 100% sure if he's going to get it or not, but it will be close. We'll wait and see. It looks like they're going to mark him short, and it will be 3rd down and a yard coming up for Mayville State.
Mayville State hasn't had a big problem picking up short yardage, so I'm going to look to Mason Ullman here to keep it. That's kind of what they've done here, at least being in these situations. And if you're Valley City, this is a very crucial stop here, but probably 4-down territory here.
It's going to be 4-down territory. You got to force a turnover if you're going to keep them, whether it's turnover on downs on 2 plays or a turnover on 1. Ullman, his own number, just looking to attack the line. He sneaks forward and has enough. Georgie Magnejo brings him down at the Viking 28, but that's enough for a first down. And the Comets will move the sticks. And you know, you can see right now that these plays, that Mayville State has momentum. They're okay with this type of football right now. They seem to have bought into this, and the Vikings, they're the ones that are having some of the offensive struggles at this point.
But you'd think the foot would be on the other shoe, as Mayville State obviously down to their 4th/5th string quarterback, trying to put a couple different looks together here. But they found some sort of system that seemed to be working for them, especially out of the second half.
From the Viking 28-yard line, 1st and 10 in favor of the Comets. Javian Davison, a jet sweep motion, ball's on the ground, and it looks as though Ullman was able to scoop it back up at the 30. There might have been miscommunication. I think Ullman wanted to take that ball back on the jet sweep, and Javian Davison thought he was taking it, and that's what led to the fumble coming out. Ullman was quick to get back to it as the Vikings had a couple of them in there. Negative play, though, and it's 2nd down 11 for the Comets at the Viking 30.
Well, and just because we were talking about Mayville State and getting the momentum, they could have shot themselves in the foot pretty bad there. Good on Mason Ullman to jump on that loose ball before the Vikings could get to it, and they'll continue their drive here again. The wind is at their back, so you think you can maybe tack on 5 or 6 more to a prospective field goal, at least on this side of the field.
2nd down 11. Davison jet sweep motion again. Ullman looking for the edge, cuts back over the interior and is driven back as he got to around the 28-yard line. Viking sideline was asking for a holding call. You know, we haven't seen one of those all day today. It's a 3-yard pickup. 3rd down and 8, and as Jaden Babiak alluded to here a couple of moments ago, 4-down territory. So you don't get too excited about 3rd down, except for other than needing to stop a team, but it's 4-down territory, so the defense needs 2 plays.
Yeah, absolutely, and good stop there. Didn't allow Mason Ullman to get a bunch. It's going to be 3rd and long, so you definitely give yourself a good opportunity to stop him twice here. but it's going to really come down to this play here for the Mayville State Comets.
Allman out of the shotgun, takes the snap. He'll give it away to Malik Flowers, stretching, looking to turn upfield, stops, met at the 25 by Gavin Gerhardt, lurched his way to around the 23, but he's short by 4. So he gets about 4. It'll be 4th down and 4, and here comes a big play. First, a big decision for the Comets. Do you want to try the three-pointer? They're going to bring Aiden Markison into the matchup, but not a kicker. And so they're going to go for it on 4th down, call it 4.5 from the Viking 23-yard line. They need about the 18.5 in order to get a first down.
And you're probably thinking, throw here if you're Mayville State bringing Markison on.
They still have Mason Ullman in the backfield, however, to Markison's left. 4 receivers. Markison hard count. Vikings lurched, Comets lurched, but this time I don't think the Vikings jumped. There was a lurch by Tequez Chapman, but I don't think he went into the neutral zone. Mayville State jumped on their side of the field. This is an important penalty. The first time around, the Vikings went into the neutral zone. This time, I don't think they did. Oh, boy, Mayville State's going to say this is against the Vikings. Dennis McCulloch is incensed.
5-yard penalty.
They're calling this against Valley City State for encroachment, and that I just don't believe went into the neutral zone for the Viking jump. But they're going to say that the Vikings violated the neutral zone. Dennis McCulloch has his headset off. He's frustrated, shaking his head, and the Comets get a fresh set of downs. There has been a touchdown scored today, and they're inside the red zone, our Mayville State. 1st and 10 of the Viking 18.
Can't let this penalty affect you if you're Valley City State. You have to lock back in here and stick to the system. As much as it's frustrating, you can't put too much weight into it here.
Allman on the field. They're going to run the football, no question, just about where. Allman right up the middle, has a hole on the zone read. Got ahead of the 15. The flag is down. And we'll see if there was a late hit here. Tequez Chapman gets up asking what the flag is about. Now he's shaking his head in the affirmative. And we'll see if Tequez Chapman took a late hit. They're going to call holding against Aaron Gilman of Mayville State, the right guard. First holding penalty today. Couldn't have come at a better time. If you're the Vikings, this will push the Comets back 10, and it'll be back at the 28-yard line of the Valley City State Vikings for Mayville State.
Yeah, both teams taking penalties here, and obviously Valley City State's going to take this trade right here. Putting it back at about the 28 here. Mayville State going to have a lot of work to do to get to the first down. But again, we're probably in 4-down territory here for Mayville State.
First down and 20 for the Comets. They'll start Javian Davison in motion. Mason Ullman trying to run up the middle of the field, and he's down right at around the 27-yard line for maybe a gain of 1. The Vikings turn it around. Georgie Magnejo celebrating as he gets up. I'm not sure what that celebration was, but it was fun. And it's a 2nd down and 19 coming up here for Mayville State. I took a look at the depth chart once again, and we were right when we said it the first time around, Jaden. There are 44 men on that depth chart, not including special teams, right? The 1s and 2s for both offense and defense. 44 men on that depth chart for the Vikings, 4 seniors.
So a young team there. It looks like Aiden Markison's back on here for Mayville State.
Mason Ullman stays in the backfield for the Comets. On 2nd down, call it 20, 19.5. Malik Flowers in motion. Ullman straight give up the middle, ran into his own man and went down. He was trying to run to the 25. He got to the 26 and ran into one of his own blockers. We've got some pushing and shoving comes on the end of that. Dante Frank was blocking on the left side, and it was Mason Ullman that ran into Frank because Frank was bull rushed into him off the right edge by, I believe, Georgia Magnejo. And here comes 3rd down and 19 for Mayville State from the Viking 27-yard line. We're already under 7 minutes to play in the 3rd quarter. 3-0 Mayville State. They must have thought we didn't have enough time to vote early or something. They're getting this one done fast. Markison out of the gun, Ullman to his right. Markison drops back, throws comeback screen near side. Isaiah Smith steps out of a tackle and made the Viking 20. That'll be a pickup of 6. Here comes 4th down and 12 for the Comets, and this time it looks like the field goal unit's going to come into the game. This would be the time where Rocky Larson would fake one as well, just to throw it out there. And your holder is Aiden Markison. Now, however, with a new quarterback in the game, maybe that doesn't set up quite as well. This will be a 37-yard attempt with the wind from the near side of the field. trying to make it a 6-0 game. Good snap, hold is down. Kick looked short. Did he make it? He got it just barely over the crossbar. Caden Johnson adds a three-pointer, and the Vikings are down 6-0 with 5:54 left to go in the third. Comets tack on your new score in the LaRue Lacko Financial scoreboard. Comets 6, Vikings nothing. This is Viking football. The voice of the Vikings, the voice of the Valley, KOVC, the VCSU Athletics YouTube channel, and NewsDakota.com.
Looking for a college experience where you can get a degree and make a difference? Valley City State University is the top public regional college in North Dakota, as ranked by U.S. News and World Report. Visit today at vcsu.edu/visit.
Vikings trailing by a score now of 6-0 to Mayville State as Caden Johnson tacks on with a field goal with 5:54 to go in the third quarter. Welcome back to Viking football. Here on the voice of the Vikings, the voice of the Valley, KOVC. Ryan Cunningham, Jaden Babiak, and Ellie Tombarge with you here today. And we'll see Levi Olson drop a kickoff. Drops it again. It's on the ground, dropped it again at the 5, and barely scooped it up at the 4. Don't really know what to tell you, folks. We had this happen at Dakota State last week where Mike Olson had a hard time picking up a punt. And Levi Olson, one of the up men, can't make the catch on the kickoff. Put it on the ground and then picked it up and put it on the ground again and had to reach back behind him. And the Vikings are going to take over at the 4-yard line, their own, down by a 6-0 margin.
Yeah, I think Olson was just thinking too much about running it back. He didn't really get his hands around that football, and a really costly mistake if you're Valley City. Just adding to really a very poor start coming out of halftime.
Yeah, really, you would have thought maybe come fired up. You're on your home field today. This is Locken Stadium. This is not a neutral site game. This is not up at Jerome Berg. This is your home house, and Mayville State is owning it right now, executing the way they want to. Thorsgaard, his own number on first down, jumping right side, got turned around as he got to the 4 and is driven back, maybe the 5 for a gain of a yard. But there does come a point, Jaden, where you got to play with some pride. I mean, this is your home house, and Mayville State is acting every bit like they're just the flat-out better man, and they've only got 6 points today, but they've got 6 points in a way that makes you think they're executing well. And the Vikings have 0 points in a way that makes you think they're not executing at all. And that really is the difference right now. You got to find a way to fix that.
Oh, it does not feel, the energy of the stadium does not feel like a one-possession game at all, Ryan. It feels like Valley City's down 30 or 40-0.
Thorsgaard again, quarterback keeper, looking right side, broke a tackle, gets free, 15 up to the 20. That's Avery Thorsgaard making it happen, up to the 20-yard line for a gain of 10, and the Vikings have a first down. And that's, that's a great observation on your part, Jaden, is that it's a 6-0 ball game. I mean, there's a lot going on here. If this game was 36-30, it would be completely different, right? But right now, it's just quiet here at the stadium. We got to get some people up and moving. 3 receivers, twins to the near side of the field. Avery Thorsgaard waiting for a snap. Legarius Marshall to his right in the backfield on 1st and 10 for the Vikings from their own 20. Thorsgaard dropping back, looking middle, has time, flushed, going to tuck it and run. Takes a tackle, takes a hit, 25 up to the 27, takes a pop there, up to around the 28-yard line. Solid gain of 8 yards for Thorsgaard, and that time he got some pretty good pass protection.
Yeah, and made another play with his feet there, Avery Thorsgaard. Doing well on the ground, but you got to think about mixing it up sooner than later. Eventually, Mayville State's going to get a read on you. I'd like to see Thorsgaard look for Jake Deutsch. 1 reception for 36 yards. He can make it happen. He's a scrappy player. Something like that, big play, would really get the fans on their feet here.
Yeah, one big stretch of the field can really change things. 2nd down, a long 2 for the Vikings. Trent Finney in motion from right to left. They'll throw it to the near side, and there's Jake Deutsch. You called it. He made a man miss. Stiff arms another 40 up to around the 44. There's Jake Deutsch making it happen. 17 yards for the Vikings, and it's first down for Valley City State near their own 45.
Well, I'll tell you what, Ryan, you called that challenge play. I called that reception by Jake Deutsch, and if you want to get me down there on the sideline, I'll bring my playbook down and we'll run a few through him. He's been a really good piece in that Valley City offense.
I can just imagine all the plays from Madden, whatever year you play, that you would script up down there. I can just see it.
CFL 20.
Is that what it is? There's
no such thing.
I would love to play Bombers and Eskimos in that. First down and 10 from the 45. Thorsgaard dropping back. Again steps up in the pocket, looking to roll. He's got room up the middle. The Comet 40, the Comet 35. He's down to the 33-yard line. 22 yards, and I think the change on the sideline was, hey, Avery, if they're covered, run, because there's room in the middle, and he's taking off and running faster. He's got a 22-yard pickup for Valley City State.
Well, I'll tell you what, if you can show that you can pass the ball efficiently, they're going to have to respect that, and it's going to open up more room for Avery Thorsgaard up the middle. Vikings look really good on this drive. I think their best drive of the game here, but again, they've had problems when they get to the red zone. Let's see if they can kind of get over that hump.
From the 33 of Mayville State.
Bit of confusion here.
Yeah, the Thorsgaard look towards the line of scrimmage as the players are waiting for a play, and the Vikings have got to burn a timeout. And Dennis McCulloch clapping his hands, and he's frustrated down there. We'll take a timeout as well for Mobility Plus Rehabilitation. The Vikings trailing by a score of 6-0 on the LaRue Laco Financial scoreboard. Timeout for Mobility Plus Rehabilitation, and we're back with more in a couple of moments.
This is Dr. Amanda Heck, physical therapist with Mobility Plus Rehabilitation, with offices in Valley City, Lisbon, Gwinner, and Enderlin. Our mission is to provide exceptional physical and occupational therapy by highly skilled therapists to minimize pain and maximize mobility, which allows you to return to the quality of life you desire. From sports injuries to work-related injuries, neurological diagnosis, and pediatric development delays, we will evaluate and educate you on your condition, review treatment options, and create an effective treatment plan to solve your impairments based on your unique situation and needs. I invite you to call our offices at Mobility Plus today.
Timeout taken by the Vikings as they were discombobulated trying to put a play together as they've driven the ball from their own 4 to the Comet 33-yard line, trailing 6-0 on the LaRue Laco Financial scoreboard. Avery Thorsgaard waiting out of the shotgun with Legarius Marshall to his right. 3 receivers and a tight end for the Vikings. They've got Trent Finney back in the game, who's been in and out with an injury, but in there right now and moving around rather well. Thorsgaard, the snap. Legarius Marshall, pitch on the option. Marshall found a hole. Broke a tackle outside the numbers of the 20. He was 1 block away from slipping it. He's down to the 16-yard line. Pickup of 17 yards. Xavier Westbrook down on the play, struggling to get off the field, wants to stay out there, and Legarius Marshall puts the Vikings in the red zone.
He's going to stay down here. I think they were looking to sub him out, but
he tried to get off under his own power and just did not make it. And Xavier Westbrook, that's a tough situation for the Vikings, because now you're talking about a special teams player that, you know, you and I were here for that game with the University of Jamestown, and you and I could probably both attest to the fact that his kickoff return for touchdown won that game. The Jimmies had just scored. It was 14-7. Momentum had turned a little bit. He returns a kickoff to the house, 96 yards.
Yeah, that was a big play. I'm also going to point out, it looks like Legarius Marshall's a bit banged up after that play. He's kind of hobbling just on the left of that Viking huddle. So maybe.
And he's been in and out of the lineup. We saw him in the second half up in Minot in the game, the season opener against Minot State, and made a difference, like immediate difference. But then we didn't see him in the games much, and he was in and out of the depth chart. They'd list him, but he wasn't out there, so he might be struggling with an injury all year long. Nonetheless, Xavier Westbrook off under his own power, receiving repairs. It's 1st and 10 Vikings from the Mayville State 16. A touchdown has not been scored in the game. One would give the Vikings a chance at a lead. Pair of receivers to the left. Thorsgaard, high snap, rolling near side, head down, looking, hit, dropped. A loss of 2, back to the 23-yard line. Couldn't fool anybody on that Mayville State University defense. Will Flemons comes up with a stop, corner on the near side, and it's 2nd down and 12.
And here's again where you've had troubles in the red zone, and for Valley City State, you got to make something happen here. I don't know if the mentality changes when you're getting to the red zone, but what worked up until this 2nd down, well, this for rather the 1st down, has worked. I don't know why they're not going back to it.
You gotta throw on more than just 3rd down when you're in the red zone. That seems to be the issue. They're very run heavy on 1st and 2nd down in the red zone. Obviously, the line is what it is. On 2nd down, a drop back. Thorsgaard throwing back near side. Trent Finney's open. Trent Finney's in the 10 to the 5. Touchdown, Valley City State. They slip the tight end to the near side of the field, and Trent Finney's got yardage to work with, and he makes his way to the house for a Viking touchdown. The game is tied.
And Trent Finney found himself wide open there. Good find by Avery Thorsgaard. Chance at the first lead of the night for the Vikings here, and we were talking about it, Ryan. You said it best. They got to throw before third down, and they did on second. Found a wide open Trent Finney, and this game's knotted up at 6, pending the extra point here.
Evan Lorenzo for the extra point opportunity. Can the Vikings get a lead? Looks like they can, and they do. The Vikings lead 7-6 with 54 seconds left to go in the third quarter on the LaRue Laco Financial scoreboard. We have a timeout for Mobility Plus Rehabilitation. This is Viking football on the VCSU Athletics YouTube channel, on KOVC, and on NewsDakota.com.
Are you on the right financial path? Are all your financial professionals on the same page? At LaRue Laco Financial, you can be assured that your investment professional and tax professional are working together. Call Ryan LaRue or Chase Carpenter at 701-845-6938. Securities offered through LPL Financial. Member FINRA, SIPC.
The big play coming in from Trent Finney. They needed something to change it up, and the Vikings have the lead by a score of 7-6, and that's a 96-yard drive, ladies and gentlemen. That started with the miscue and the kickoff for Levi Olson that the Vikings covered at the 4, and Avery Thorsgaard with a lot of heart in that drive. He ran the ball a handful of times when he needed to. Isaiah Smith kickoff return from the Comet 11, getting outside the numbers and is out of bounds at around the 24. Let's go back a moment to our NewsDakota.com replay. And here's the little jet sweep fake. Trent Finney holding a block, waiting out in the flat. No one covered him. Trent Finney into the end zone for the touchdown for Valley City State. And the Vikings get on the board and find a little something to be positive about. They've got the Comets at their own 24 to start the ensuing drive with less than a minute to play in the third quarter.
Well, again, like we were saying, this 6-0 lead that the Comets just had felt like a lot more based on the energy, but an answer by the Valley City State Vikings finally, and this crowd now has something to get up for, and I don't think Mayville State's going to be too worried. They've been executing okay so far.
They have Mason Ullman on the carry, and Ullman stacked up as he got to the 23. No gain, maybe lost a half a yard, blown up by another rookie for Valley City State that's had a great season, Armani Smith. 21 tackles up on the defensive line, playing behind Tequez Chapman. And he has been a great role player, has Armani Smith out of Beulah, North Dakota. And we'll see both he and Aiden Russell coming on the field. They've made the most of their freshman playing opportunities. 2nd down and 10, ball at the 24. This is a big possession, and listen to that Viking crowd come to life now after being silent for most of the third. Isaiah Smith in motion, jet sweep look to him on the far edge, trying to cut back middle, hit by Khalil Toney and wrestled down after bursting out of that tackle from Toney and making his way near the 30 for a gain of 6. When the Vikings had him bottled up for 3, here comes 3rd and 4, and the end of the third quarter is going to bring us to a crucial 3rd down when we make our way to the 4th. After 3 on the LaRue Laco Financial scoreboard, it's the Vikings 7, the Comets 6, and the fourth quarter's next. This is Viking football on the VCSU Athletics YouTube channel. KOVC, the voice of the Valley, and NewsDakota.com.
Grotberg Electric believes in quality first, taking pride in the work and standing behind every project they do. They bring together the power, technology, and experience to keep your business online. The success of Grotberg Electric depends on 3 major ideals: the quality of their products, the commitment to their customers, and most of all, their customer service. Call Grotberg Electric today at 845-3010 or visit them online, grotbergelectric.com.
Welcome back to Viking football. Ryan Cunningham along with Jaden Babiak, Ellie Tombarge today. It'll be 3rd down, and I don't know what just happened. I don't know what. It was 3rd down and 4 when they flipped sides of the field. Okay, I got it right. Yeah, okay, I got it now. The Comets are going the other way. That's the thing. It's 3rd down and 4. They got it right. From the 30, 3rd down and 4, the Vikings taking the lead just in front of the end of the third quarter on a touchdown pass to Trent Finney. And it's 3rd and 4 for the Comets on their drive coming out of it. Play action, and Markuson looking to throw. Rolling, looking underneath. Pass caught. Javian Davison, a one-handed catch. Slipping tackles and is out of bounds at the 48-yard line. You just can't do it any better than what Javian Davison just did. Look at this again on the NewsDakota.com replay. He gives you the chance to miss. We talked about him being one of the best in the business. They've only targeted him one time. He just reaches up and grabs that with one hand at the 40 and keeps right on running to the 48. And there's a reason why he's got the reputation for being a good one. It's 1st and 10 Comets.
That's how you extend a drive there for Javian Davison. Mayville State here approaching midfield. And again, I said they were executing better than Valley City State. So another key drive here, try and retake the lead.
From the 48, they'll give it away to Ullman right side. Jucking, diving, weaving, cutting, nowhere. Gavin Gerhardt, Mike Olson and company wrap him up right at the line of scrimmage for no gain. The Vikings seem to have targeted the running game, so they're going to try to make Aiden Markuson come on the field and beat them with the passing game. And a yard pickup for Mason Ullman will make it 2nd down and 9.
And rightfully so for the Vikings. The Mayville State Comets have had no problem just running the football, and you force Aiden Markuson in a couple more passes here, and he's already thrown a pick today, Brian, so let's not forget that. And I think that's a good idea by the Valley City State Vikings.
2nd down and 9. They'll give it away and then take it back. Ullman throwing to Davison, who just took a licking on the far side of the field from Emmanuel Spy. Spy just blows up Davison on the far side of the field, and they both sort of congratulate each other, but Spy with a big hit. Another look at the NewsDakota.com replay. So a moment ago, we show you the best of Javian Davison, right, with a one-handed catch. This time you'll see Davison's in the air when Spy just licks him and brings him down on the edge. Big play for the Vikings. And here's 3rd and 10 for Mayville State at the 48-yard line, and now the Vikings are asking for the crowd to come to life. The Comets break huddle with 7 on the play clock. 3 receivers, twins to the left. Markuson waiting for the snap. Low, he's got it. Drops back, pressured. He's in trouble. Quarterback sack. Back at the 32. Taquiz Chapman and Georgie Magnejo come up with a play. And the Vikings will force a Mayville State punt.
And that's a huge loss there for the Comets. That's going to bring up about, 4th and 26. I was going to say about 30. Going to give the Vikings a lot better field position here off this punt. And again, this punt is into the wind, Ryan. So it's going to get knocked down. So Valley City could have a really short porch on this drive.
Caden Johnson will step back to punt for Mayville State. Mike Olson back at his own 25 to receive. Kicks away. And it's short end over end. I don't think the Vikings want anything to do with returning it. Hops inside the 40, the 30, and will trickle down to the 27. Go back a moment ago on the NewsDakota.com replay. Here's the sack and 2 guys that you can count on. Taquiz Chapman, Georgie Magnejo. The Vikings bring only a 3-man rush, and they just meet at the quarterback, and Aiden Markuson didn't have much of an opportunity in that situation. And now the Vikings will get the football leading 7-6 from their own 27-yard line. Important drive with 12 minutes to go. A 1-point lead. Can the Vikings tack on? 1-point leads can change with a single kick of the football. 1st down and 10 for the Vikings from their own 27. Thorsgaard takes the snap, option pitch. Legarius Marshall stretching near edge, outside the numbers, head down, run down at the 29 for a gain of 2. Bailey Mullenberg out there leading part of the charge, and he had supporting cast coming behind him from Andrew Roberts. And it'll be 2nd down at 9 after a gain of 1 for Legarius Marshall.
And Thorsgaard uses his legs so well, and he's been called upon a lot today, and I think that little pitch option offers him a bit of a backup plan out of Avery Thorsgaard's kind of call on his own number play, and I'd pick up by 2 by Marshall. He's looked a little better in this second half here for Valley City.
2nd down and 8, play action. Thorsgaard calling his own number designed. He's hitting the backfield and going nowhere. He was converged upon by Devon Woods almost immediately, and Will Flemings got back there. Correction, Richard Shelton got back there as well. That'll be a loss of 3, so here comes 3rd down and 12. Clock down to 11 minutes to go, and the thing about momentum is that it's fleeting. You can have it, you can lose it just in the snap of an eye or snap of a finger, and let's see what the Vikings do here on 3rd down and 12. Need a big conversion here.
Absolutely. Probably going to look to the air with Avery Thorsgaard. And again, I'm going to say his number again, Jake Deutsch, number 1 out there.
part of 3 receivers on the left side of the field, and he's the lead man there. They'll motion Dom Sotomayor. They look middle for Dom. They've got him underneath, and Dom's clipped down immediately. He maybe had the 28-yard line, but there was no chance to go with the football anywhere.
He didn't catch the football, Ryan.
I thought they ruled that a completed
yes,
pass. Yep, they did.
Okay.
Yep, Sotomayor picks up 3, but is clipped down immediately, and the Viking punt team will come on. So the Vikings get the ball back after the quarterback sack. However, going to give it right back to the Comets after a 3-and-out with 10 minutes and 5 seconds to go.
And again, for Jim Miller, you have the wind at your back in this punt.
See if we can get one over Isaiah Smith's head. Nearly blocked. It's a spinning, driving kick, spiraling. Isaiah Smith from the 28 off the ground. Sets up return near side, made a man miss, and then makes a business decision and steps out of bounds at the 43. Good field position for Mayville State. Smith didn't want to take on a hit. So once again, the Comets will have decent field position as they get started. Numbers to this point. Mason Ullman, 19 carries, 47 yards for the Comets. Avery Thorsgaard, 18 for 68 for the Vikings. Thorsgaard, 9 of 14, 90 yards. They've got it on the score on the stat sheet as Dylan Lamont, but Aiden Marcuson, I believe, is who's throwing all the passes for Mayville State. 6 of 7 for 50. Not sure how that ended up 14 in there. They might have just been planning ahead. Nonetheless, it's Mayville State football at the 43-yard line, trailing by 1 at 7-6. Ullman, zone read, found a hole up the middle. Sprints his way to the 50 before he's clipped down by Khalil Toney, and makes his way to the 49 for a gain of 8 yards. Quick hitter for the Comets up the middle.
And they've liked that look to Mason Ullman, just keeping it himself and driving up the middle. He runs aggressively. Second and short here for Mayville. They've had no problem picking up this kind of yardage. And again, this is 4-down territory here in pretty much any scenario.
I would think, no matter what, unless they go backwards and have a very negative play. Because if you're Mayville State, you feel like your defense is going to get you another stop. Mason Ullman on 2nd down. He'll give this one away on a stretch play near side for Dan Neville. Neville hit at the 50. That's a negative play. He'll go down back of the midfield stripe. It'll be 3rd down and 3, and a host of men there for the Vikings. Mosiah Rogers Taval coming out towards the edge to get part of it. Emmanuel Spy, he's had a very nice defensive game today from a corner for the Vikings.
Yeah, I think they're going to move it back a yard here. Still 3rd and manageable for Mayville State.
Viking crowd being asked for support again. Mason Ullman out of the shotgun, hard count. Vikings showing heat in the middle. Ullman takes a look over to the Mayville State bench. Didn't get the hard count to jump. The play clock's at 5. And now a whistle, and Mayville State is called for timeout. So the Vikings will force a Comet timeout with 8:29 to go in the 4th quarter. We have a timeout for Mobility Plus Rehabilitation. On the LaRue Laco Financial scoreboard, Vikings 7, Comets 6. We're back with more in a moment on Viking football.
We aren't meant to be still. And while you determine the direction you'll go, we're just here to help you along the way. So go. Go with experience. Go with teamwork. Go with neighbors. Go with integrity.
Big 3rd down coming up here for Mayville State. Try to run you around the scoreboard once again on our LaRue Laco Financial scoreboard and take a look at some other college football games. The Vikings lead here by a score of 7-6 over Mayville State. The Comets have a 3rd down and 3 coming up from midfield. Indiana State leading North Dakota 35-31, 2:25 left of the 4th. Indiana State with the football. It's 9-2. You heard that correctly. Illinois State over Youngstown State, 9-2. Early 2nd quarter. Missouri State leads Southern Illinois 10-0. The Bison lead 7-3 over Northern Iowa late 1st. 3rd down and 3 for Mayville State. Malik Flowers in motion. Mason Ullman zone read, hit at midfield, plunges to the 49. It's 4th down. Levi Olson coming up with a big part of the stop. Georgie Magnejo as well. And this is about as gutsy a call as you have to make one way or t'other. Are you punting? Are you going? It's 4th down and 2 from the Viking 49.
Marcuson's in here.
Mayville State going to send Aiden Marcuson, the quarterback, onto the field. They're going to keep the offense on the field at 4th and 2. The Vikings have been drawn into penalties on this twice today. 4th and 2. Hard count Marcuson. Doesn't get the flinch. Play clock 10 seconds. Play clock 6 seconds. Marcuson flips Ullman in the backfield. 3 seconds. Marcuson the snap. Dropping back. In trouble. Wrapped up 45. Quarterback sack. Another for the Vikings. Georgie Magnejo, Mosiah Rogers, Tavau, and company get to Aiden Marcuson. And, you know, we could talk a lot about what's plagued both of these teams throughout the course of their season. But the one thing that stands true, freshman quarterback, third game he's played this year, big moment, nobody open right away, trouble. And the Vikings get the quarterback sack.
Yeah, definitely didn't have a lot of time to take a look and go through his options. He had pressure right away, and that's the second big quarterback sack that Valley City has had in this second half.
Touchdown might win it with 7:30 to go in the fourth quarter. Vikings lead by 1 at 7-6. Out of the motion of the backfield, Kobe Jones, Avery Thorsgaard drives left guard for a gain of 2. Vikings look like they want to work on the clock to an extent. But right now in a one-point ball game, it's tough. You got to balance this, how you feel about your defense right now and the adjustments you've made versus a one-kick football game, really, at this point. It's not a one-possession game. It's a one-kick game from that perspective. Clock down to 7 on 2nd down and 8 for the Vikings. Colby Jones is the running back. He's been in and out with Legarius Marshall today. Pair of receivers right, Jake Deutsch in the slot, Dom Sotomayor wide side. Thorsgaard waiting for the snap. He's got it. Play action, his own number. Trouble. Got out of it in the backfield. Head down, burrowing. Line of scrimmage, that's it. And we see Richard Shelton, I believe, from Mayville State asking for a holding call. And we've got an injured Bryce Prouty. And this is a key injury for the Vikings if Prouty has to come out of the game for even a play, because that's your center that would have to come out of the game for a moment, as the Vikings have an injury to their offensive lineman, Bryce Prouty.
Yeah, like we were saying, young offensive line, and if your center's coming out, Bryce Prouty, that O-line gets even younger and more inexperienced, and even for one play, that can be crucial, especially on a 3rd and long where Avery Thorsgaard is going to need all the time he can get in the pocket.
The backup is Zach Fall, but boy, I seem to remember him being a tight end at one point for the Vikings. Actually, let me make a correction. That was Will Fall that was a tight end for the Vikings. Zach Fall is not that guy, but I saw Viking number 77, Micah Kialona, a 313-pound junior out of Aiea, Hawaii, come onto the field, and it looks like it will be Kialoa that's going to take over as the center. So again, in a crucial moment, 3rd down and 9, a new center out of the shotgun relationship with Avery Thorsgaard. This isn't easy to do if you're Kialoa, with the clock running at 6:25 to go from the Comet 44. 3rd down and 9, 4 receivers, 3 left, and Finney's in motion back towards the line of scrimmage. The running back is Kayua Nishigaya. A step to the near side, and now Thorsgaard going to run for it, put a move on, shook a tackle, then lost the football. He may have got back on it. Now the pile's all over it. The Vikings say they have it, and if they do, it looks like a 1st down up at the 35, but this all comes down to who has it. The Vikings are reassuring themselves that they, in fact, got the football back. Oh, boy. I mean, it would have to come down to something like that, would it not, the way this season has gone?
Yeah.
And the Vikings do recover the fumble. They spot the ball at the 35, and the Vikings have a 1st down on the carry by Avery Thorsgaard.
Got away with one for sure, and that's one of those ones we're talking about momentum, and that's one of those plays that can flip the script. And Mayville's sideline was jumping, so I thought that they might have got their hands on it, but good on the Vikings to fall on it. They're going to have a discussion here, I think.
Well, there's a lot to discuss, because if the fumble was advanced, that's the difference between a 1st down or not a 1st down. If you fumble the football, I think the only offensive player that can recover a fumble and advance it is the person who fumbled it, if I remember the rule book correctly. And so that came out before the marker. They get together to discuss it, but no challenge coming here from Mayville State on it. Looks like the 1st down will stand, and it's 1st and 10 for Valley City State with 3 receivers at the Comet 35 in a 7-6 game for Valley City State. Thorsgaard waiting for a shotgun snap. He's got it. Again, looking to run him himself. Off left side, off left guard. Devon Woods wraps him up, drags him backwards, and he will be prevented from hitting the ground by offensive guard Weiss Wilprecht, and there's another Viking down in the middle of the field. And I think it's another lineman, and that's Zach Kuznia, who's down on the field for the Vikings. Kuznia grabbing at a knee.
Yeah, you'd be correct there, Ryan, and already a banged-up O-line.
Right, a young offensive line that has one injury at the center's position, and now Zach Kuznia down. And I ran into his family downstairs. Zach's a heck of a kid. They're a Grand Forks Central family, and they were downstairs wearing full Viking gear, except Zach has a sister still in school that had the Grand Forks Central shield jacket on, the night shield. They're tending to Zach Kuznia's ankle. And, yeah, like you mentioned, you're already down an offensive lineman, and at this point it doesn't even matter, you know, if you're going guard tackle. If you can play O-line at this point, you kind of step into that role. On a 2nd down and 8 coming up for the Vikings with 5:35 to go.
Absolutely, and then, you know, another thing to keep in mind here on this drive is you have the wind at your back for a potential field goal. But, yeah.
A field goal is key in this situation because that's not a 3-point lead, it's 4-point lead.
That's right.
And so that takes the kick out of the play of winning the game for Mayville State or even tying the game. So a field goal is a big deal here. But you're at the 33, you've still got to tack on, and I would think to feel good about it, we had mentioned the 23 is kind of the boundary, right? You need to get 10 more yards for the Vikings to feel good about it. Zach Kuznia helped off the field. And we'll see a new man step into the ball game in his position as well. So that offensive line continues to turn over. And it's 2nd down and 8 for Valley City State. Avery Thorsgaard with Kayua Nishigaya to his right. That's the 3rd running back in the 2nd half for the Vikings in that spot. Finney in motion, play action. It's looking for Thorsgaard trying to find Finney. He steps away from one would-be sacker, steps up, bluffs a throw, and then throws incomplete towards Finney. Thorsgaard might have had some yardage, but perhaps just to the 30. And in the long run, he'll throw that one away to prevent a huge negative play, and here comes 3rd down.
Yeah, it looked a little dire there. Missed assignment there. Mayville State got into the backfield. Thorsgaard did a good job of staying up and off a bit of contact. 3rd and long here for the Vikings. Probably going to see them stick it in the air.
Trying to figure out who the new offensive lineman is for the Vikings. I know they've moved Reese Wilprecht from a guard to a tackle position on the near edge. It looks like they've got the original center, Bryce Pouty, back on the field. 3rd down and 8. Thorsgaard dropping back. Bailey Mullenberg's in his grill. Thorsgaard ran away from him, puts a move on, cuts back over the middle, shook a tackle, drives inside the 25, and the senior out of Northwood, North Dakota, the Northwood Trojan, the Hatton Northwood Thunder, with a drive to the 23, and it's 1st and 10 for Valley City State.
Manufactured that one. He looked like he was in trouble there.
He's been very shifty in the backfield this 2nd half. There have been a couple of moments where Mayville State has been all around him, and he's been able to dodge a couple of would-be pieces of contact back there and keep moving up the field.
And we know Avery Thorsgaard's really good on his legs. Definitely his strong suit. He's moved really well on the ground. He's probably approaching 100 yards now, Ryan.
Clock
on the ground
to 3 seconds on the snap. It'll be Thorsgaard that takes it. Calls his own number up the middle, and he's down. Right at the line of scrimmage, Devon Woods comes up with a stop. Clock moving. Down to 4:10 to go. If the Comets do not use timeouts here, and the Vikings keep the ball inbounds, they can kill about another 100 seconds on this thing, which would take you down to about 2.5 left to go in the football game. The Comets have 2 timeouts and the 2-minute timeout at that point. I think it's a little early for the Vikings to play conservative here. I don't think you just set up for a field goal. You've got to try to put this in a house and end it.
Yeah, I think so, Ryan. And, you know, not that Mayville State has overpowered you on offense, but you don't want to leave it up to
one stretch play.
Exactly.
Thorsgaard going to throw. Kayua Nishigaya makes the catch, took a hit and bounced off of it, then ran back and was able to dive out to around the 21-yard line. He'll be down there for a gain of 2 and is out of bounds to stop the clock. So there went that plan with 3:25 to go. And the Vikings look at 3rd down and 7.
Well, I like the idea there, and good on Nishigaya to hold on to that ball. He was hit pretty quickly after he caught it and got to the outside, got a couple extra yards here. 3rd and long here. And again, Ryan, you really want to go put this one in the house here to leave no doubts in your mind.
This is where you go looking for Dom Sotomayor. He's the most experienced receiver that you have out there right now. Let's see what happens on 3rd down and 8. Legarius Marshall back in as the running back for the Vikings. Thorsgaard takes the snap. He's going to call his own number in the quarterback draw, and it fooled no one. They have got 2 men committed to Avery Thorsgaard, and the Comets are going to call for timeout. to save as much time as they can while the Vikings make a decision. From here, it's the 21-yard line, and you're looking at about a 38-yard field goal to try to make this a 4-point game for Valley City State. And then send the ball back to the Comets with a timeout left and the 2-minute timeout. They haven't taken there, they did. They did take the timeout off the board for Mayville State. And you've got a very quiet Lockett Stadium here as they wait to see how this one's going to end today.
Well, you got to go field goal here. You got to get the points. You can't leave it up to Caden Johnson here. And he's actually had a good day kicking the football. He's made 2 field goals and had a few punts that have pinned Valley City deep. So you're thinking here probably go for the field goal. Again, Lorenzo has already missed one for the Vikings.
Missed one, had one blocked, and there's no sign of him on the field.
So they're going for it here. Oh, number 92 over there.
Oh, there he is.
Yes.
Yep, Evan Lorenzo coming out now.
He was hidden from me too a little bit.
Yep. So the Vikings will attempt a field goal. This one's going to be a 38-yarder out of the hold of quarterback Avery Thorsgaard. For a 4-point lead for the Vikings with the wind at Lorenzo's back. Far hash mark. Thorsgaard waits for the snap. Good snap. Kick is on its way. It's got the leg, but I think he missed. No, he got it. He wrapped it inside the right upright. That was hooking and hooking and hooking. But Evan Lorenzo tacks on as he knocks down a 38-yard field goal for the Vikings. And with 2:44 left to go in the fourth quarter, the Vikings lead by 4. Lorenzo good from 38 yards, and the Vikings up by 4 as we get ready for a photo finish here at Lockett Stadium and Shelley Elling Field. We're back with more after a timeout in just a couple of moments. This is Viking football on the Voice of the Vikings, the Voice of the Valley, KOVC.
Looking for a quality, affordable education to get you the career you want? Strengthen your resume with a degree from Valley City State University. From education to business, fisheries and wildlife to software engineering. We have it all. Learn more about becoming a Viking today.
Welcome back to Viking football. Valley City State tacking on a field goal with 2:44 left to go here in the fourth quarter. They lead Mayville State by a score of 10-6. And the Vikings will have to get that Viking crowd into it, looking for one more defensive stop here, as the Comets will need a touchdown now to win the football game. Evan Lorenzo to kick the football away for the Vikings. With the wind at his back, he'll drive it to the 5, and it went over Isaiah Smith's hands. It went into the end zone, and then Isaiah Smith dropped it and is down at the 3-yard line. So karma turning around a little bit for the Vikings as Isaiah Smith struggles to field a kickoff, and it's going to be a 97-yard journey for Mayville State.
Yeah, and we saw Valley City do that earlier. I believe it was Levi Olson who tried to pick it up and put it down, pick it up, put it down, and Smith obviously was looking to run it before he caught it. You got to catch first and then go. I know in baseball it's catch then throw, especially on double plays when you're looking for a quick transfer, but you got to go one step at a time there, and Mayville State's going to have a lot of work to do here if they're to come back and win this football game.
Still a big play away, though, if you're a Comet fan at this point. Mason Ullman, I believe, is on to take the snaps here for the Comets. He is not. That's Markuson who throws the football, and it's caught. Javian Davison, middle of the field, out to the 5 for a gain of 2. I've seen Javian Davison do some things from distance for this Mayville State team that will make your head spin. He's the big play guy, and the Comets know it. They've got to get him some touches, and that's why Markuson's on the field right now to at least keep that threat a possibility. 2nd down and 8, low snap to Markuson. He'll roll right side. Rolling out in the end zone, throwing in the pass is a trap, incomplete. Isaiah Smith made it look pretty good, but that one hopped in front of him. So here comes 3rd down. I don't know, you've only got one timeout left in the 2-minute timeout. If you don't convert here, it might be 4-down territory. You might not get the football back.
Oh, it absolutely is, I think, and especially now you got one more play to run before the 2-minute timeout.
Well, they can use a timeout if they want. The Comets have one left.
That's right.
Markuson out of the shotgun with 3 receivers, correction 4. Allman in the backfield. Markuson dropping back, looking middle. They've got Davison for the first down. Davison wrapped up by 3 different Vikings and will be ahead to the 22, and that's going to take us to the 2-minute timeout.
This is the 2-minute timeout.
So the 2-minute timeout with a 10-6 lead for the Vikings. 1 timeout remaining for Mayville State. They'll have the football at their 22. We have another timeout for Mobility Plus Rehabilitation. We're back with more in a moment on Viking football.
When you're craving the taste of juicy, flavorful, locally sourced beef and pork, look no further than your locally owned Valley Meat Supply. At Valley Meat Supply, we take pride in bringing you the finest cuts of beef and pork straight from local producers. So whether you're planning a mouth-watering barbecue or a cozy family meal, choose Valley Meat Supply for the highest quality, locally grown beef, pork, and award-winning jerky, sticks, and sausage. Valley Meat Supply, West Main, Valley City. Your taste buds will thank you.
So the 2-minute timeout with the Vikings leading 10-6 over Mayville State. Welcome back to Viking football. Ryan Cunningham, Jaden Babiak, and Miss Tombarge is with us. She's done a great job here in the box today. Ellie Tombarge has done wonderful on the camera work today. 1st and 10 from the Comet 22 for Mayville State. Markuson dropping back out of the shotgun, has time to throw and overshot Malik Flowers. That was close to a couple of different things. Loke Yese was in the vicinity to pick it. Malik Flowers had a chance to catch it as it drifted. Neither happens, and it's 2nd down at 10.
Yeah, that would have been Loke Yese's second pick of the game, and that was in the vicinity for Flowers. He could have made a big play there just over his fingertips. Markuson probably going to be looking to throw, very aggressive here.
2nd down and 10. 3 receivers to the right, 1 man to the left, Javian Davison. Markuson's in trouble, steps away from pressure, going to tuck and run. 25, hit by Khalil Toney. He makes his way to the 30, took a shot, but he holds on to the football. Ball out to the 30-yard line, clock moving. The Comets have 1 timeout left to use. 1:40 left to go, it's 3rd and 2. 3rd down and 2 for Mayville State at their 30-yard line. Comets trailing 10-6, 1.5 to go. Markuson takes the snap, dropping back. The Vikings rush 4, it's a screen pass. Mason Allman clipped once in the backfield, tripped up at the 30, didn't get what he needs, and here comes 4th down.
Out of bounds though, so it will stop the clock, Ryan. But again, 4th down here. This is the game right here in the hands of Aiden Markuson.
This is the ball game for Mayville State and for Valley City State. This is what it comes down to. 4th down and 1 for Mayville State. They convert, they continue. They come up empty, and the Vikings have it in hand. Markuson out of the shotgun with 4 receivers. Javian Davison is the man to the right. He's by himself. Mason Allman flips with Markuson in the backfield. Markuson, the shotgun snap, dropping back, pressured, steps up. A flag is down. Throw to Javian Davison, who's wide open on the far side of the field. Emmanuel Spy catches him, but the Vikings are suggesting this is all for naught. They've got a holding penalty against Mayville State back at the 23. How Davison got 15 yards behind the defense is an absolute mind-boggling mistake. And Davison is down after being caught by Emmanuel Spy from behind.
Yeah, and a very explosive play there. I don't know how Davison found himself so wide open. Again, it's going to be all for naught. Holding call on the Comets, and
Holding offense number 64.
that's going to be huge
Wipes
for
out the
Valley
play.
City State.
And during the conversation about the penalty, Aiden Markuson, the Mayville State quarterback, was fixing Tequez Chapman's uniform. his shoulder pad had popped out. They'll bring it back to the 21, so 4th and 1 became 4th and 11. Now give credit to Emmanuel Spy for getting back to the receiver to bring down Javian Davison before he went to the end zone, but you have got to play more disciplined than that no matter who you are. Whoever was responsible for covering Davison on the far side of the field can't just let him run free like that. And Davison being down and not being able to play on this next play, and I don't think he's coming back. They've tried to pick him up twice at the Vikings 17, and he has not been able to regain his footing. He was caught from behind on a dive by Emmanuel Spy, and looks like he tweaked the leg, and I don't know if Davison's going to be able to come back on the field, and that's a stretch the field kind of guy that the Comets going to have to go without now.
And that's a weapon you need on a 4th and 11 like this. As you can tell from the previous play, that didn't count, a deep threat, and we're back to where we started. Ball game here for Mayville State if they don't complete this pass.
So now it's 4th and 11 with 1:07 to go. Comets trailing the Vikings 10-6. Ball at the 21-yard line for Mayville State. They don't convert. The Vikings get it back, run it out, and it's over. Mayville State converts. There's new life. Aiden Markison is the quarterback with Mason Ullman to his right. New receiver for Mayville State checks into the game. That's Elijah Roundtree, a senior out of Lawrenceville, Georgia. He's on the near side of the field. 4 receivers total. Markison takes the snap, dropping back, pressured again, rolling, caught, got away from it, cuts back, caught again, hit from behind, quarterback sack, and the Vikings are winning today. Michael Olson gets there, pressured again from behind by Tequez Chapman, who's had a huge game today for Valley City State, and the Vikings will bring down Aiden Markison and win the football game 10-6 right now with 51 seconds to go.
Yeah, big play there by the Viking defense, and it didn't look good for Markison. He was getting pressured, found a way to escape a couple times, but persistence by that Viking defense, and then Micah Olson finishes the job, and the Vikings looking to close this one out here with Avery Thorsgaard.
Thorsgaard steps into a knee. Look at it again on the NewsDakota.com replay from a moment ago, and all kinds of trouble before the Vikings finally get to him, but there was nothing but trouble on that play for Aiden Markison. And the Vikings have one more knee to take. Comets have a timeout to use, but to their credit, to the victor goes the spoils, and Rocky Larson's going to leave it unused at this point. And the Vikings are coming out of here with a win. They avenged the loss at Jerome Berg Field earlier this year. They'll push their record to 3-5 on the season with 2 games left. Still a shot at getting back to a 500 mark, and the Vikings grab the win today. Hey, it's a good day for the Vikings. The only final coming in so far today in playoff football, the Kindred Vikings, the number 1 seed at the 1A level, defeated Shiloh Christian today 39-20. So the Kindred Vikings advance, and today the Valley City State University Vikings. The lone touchdown to Trent Finney, and the Vikings win it by a final score of 10-6. We'll come back with your post-game report. We'll have some of our highlights. Get a word from Dennis McCulloch and more. This is Viking football, the voice of the Vikings and the voice of the Valley, KOVC.
Sanford Health of Valley City is dedicated to transforming your healthcare experience and providing access to world-class healthcare right here in America's heartland. We're committed to improving the human condition at every stage of life through exceptional care, spiritual enhancement, innovation, and discovery. Schedule your appointment today at Sanford Health of Valley City by calling 701-845-6000 or self-schedule online at mysanfordchart.org. Sanford Health, here for all, here for good.
When your team, school, or business needs custom apparel or
Sanford Health of Valley City.
When your team, school, or business needs custom apparel or promotional products, Rambo is here to help. With over 40 years of industry-leading experience, state-of-the-art machines, and dedicated employees, we have the tools and facility to handle any job. With online ordering solutions for sports teams and businesses alike, you can count on us to get the job done correctly and on time. To get your next project started, contact Matt or visit us online at rambo.com.
Experience the thrill, feel the passion, and join the excitement. Tickets on sale now at VCSUVikings.com.
Lang hard to the basket with a 2-hand flush. He burst through it. He's to the end zone. Touchdown, Valley City State.
Here's the game-winning shot. Does it go? Yes, it does!
Nelson on the attack. Holland can't make the play. The Vikings sweep the Jimmy. Welcome back to our coverage of Viking football today here on the Voice of the Vikings, the Voice of the Valley, KOVC, NewsDakota.com, VCSU Athletics YouTube channel. Ryan Cunningham, Jaden Babiak. Our thanks to Ellie Tombarge for the video work that we had here today. Boy, I'll tell you what, at halftime, this didn't look like a win. It was a really, really tough look for the Vikings, and they perhaps never really snapped out of the offensive funk today, but they did enough. They hit the big play with the pass to Trent Finney for the touchdown. They come up with a couple of defensive stops at the end. They get a break on that inadvertent kickoff return for Mayville State to force them deep at the end of regulation. The Vikings win it by a final score of 10-6. The Vikings improve to 3-5, and the Comets will fall to 4-5 on the season. And it's a split of the season series as we get ready to head off into the Frontier the next time that we see Mayville State as far as conference play is concerned. And what a game. Just overall, what a game. You know, the crowd quiet a lot today, but they rose to the occasion when they needed to, when the Vikings gave them a chance to, I think is probably the best way to put it today.
Yeah, absolutely. That crowd was in a bit of a lull to start really that entire first half. Not a whole lot going on for Valley City State in terms of offense. They defended okay. They did enough, like you said, Ryan, and to come out here with a 10-6 win, I think going in at halftime down 3-0, it seemed a lot worse than it was. But then again, just did enough and took care of business in a gritty 10-6 win here today.
Yeah, let's take a look at some of the highlights that we had for you for the Vikings. A couple of defensive looks back in the opening half. This is a stop for Georgia Magneo after the Comets had driven deep and had forced a field goal try from Mayville State. Georgia Magneo coming up with a big play up on the line. And then a turnover today, a big interception that comes from Loke Yesse, who just baited that throw on the near side. But what was disappointing is that didn't lead to points for the Vikings at all. And so that left the Vikings off the scoreboard at the end of one. But here's the touchdown. 6-0 Comets at this point. Trent Finney leaking out to the flat, getting into the end zone to score. Would be the only touchdown of the day. Be the only touchdown the Vikings would need, however. The rest of this comes down to some Viking defense. But Mayville State, their big play man, Javian Davison, this was a key sequence. Davison with a one-handed grab showing you that they still had some big play threat. But Emmanuel Spivey comes back and really makes Javian Davison pay for catching a football. There's Davison in the air, and Spivey just bull drives him into the ground. And the Vikings ended as they've done so many times before with a couple of plays with the defensive line. Marcuson dropping back, all kinds of trouble, sacked. That shut down an early fourth quarter drive for Mayville State. And then at the end of the game, Marcuson trying to keep a play alive and another sack. Tequez Chapman had a big day today for Valley City State up on that defensive line. It was a big part of putting this one away, and the Vikings come out with a win today by a final score of 10-6. The numbers today for the Vikings: Avery Thorsgaard, 10 of 16 for just 92 yards, but a touchdown, and really two big catches. Jake Deutsch had 2 for 54, 1 for 36. Trent Finney, 1 for 16. It was a big one, scored the lone touchdown in the game for Valley City State. Thorsgaard also with his legs, 27 carries, 87 yards for Avery Thorsgaard today. Very workmanlike, 87 yards there as well. For the Comets today, rushing the football, they get 55 from Mason Ullman on 21 carries. But it was Aiden Marcuson sacked a handful of times, took 32 yards off the rushing count today. And Marcuson was 9 of 12 for 70 yards, throwing the football away once today. The Vikings, as far as total offense today, 202 to 158. Again, that number is not going to win a lot of beauty contests, but it will win a football game when it needs to. And the Vikings end up rushing the football for 110 yards today to the Comets 88, throwing for 92 to the Comets 70. Vikings win it by a final score of 10-6. Tell you what, this had everything but W written on it at the end of the opening half, and somehow that Viking defense persevered. And tell you what, there's a couple of things to talk about. First of all, let's talk about that defensive line that just kept coming, just kept reporting to the mud hole every time they need to make a play today. They did it.
Absolutely, and you know, a look that the Mayville State Comets likes was that Mason Ullman kind of keeper. And again, the first couple times they ran that, lot of yards for him, and the defense made the adjustment and plugged that hole, stacked the box, if you will. And again, you give up 6 points in a game, you're going to put yourself in a good spot to win it. And the defense did a really good job today, I thought, of keeping the Vikings in the game, getting some momentum for that offense, making some big plays, and they come out with the victory today. Big credit to that Viking defense.
Yeah, the other part of this, and I think it's worth mentioning for those of you that are Mayville State fans, is the job that Rocky Larson has done, because until the whistle today, this team's 4-4. And 5 different quarterbacks. If we count them up, you start the season with Tin Salmon, and you go with Dylan Lamont and Jack Simmers sort of together, so there's 2 and 3. And then today we see some of Jack Simmers, Mason Ullman, and Aiden Marcuson. I mean, that's 5 different quarterbacks that have played for Mayville State. And I think in most years, if you tell me that a team's going to play 5 quarterbacks, 9 games in, they should be 1-8 or 0-9, right? This team was near 5. I mean, they were 500 coming in. They're 4-5 now. So, I mean, you can tell if Tim Salmon's with this Comet football, I've seen Tim Salmon play, and if he's with this Comet football team, they're just different. He's got the ability to throw the football like you would not believe and do some really, really good things. And it's just been a really, really tough year, 2 years for injuries with him. He's probably eligible for 2 medical red shirts because they just can't get him on the field for more than a game or two. So there's that. But that Viking defensive line, it's the best level I think that they've got as far as personnel grouping on the team, and they went out there and they made plays down the stretch to win this football game today.
Yeah, absolutely. Like you said, the momentum that they brought to this game, and big for the Valley City State University Vikings. Obviously, like I said, limiting the Comets to 6 points, and you're going to do a great job with that when you're limiting to 6 points.
I'm going to take your headset because you're going to hand it to the guy standing to your right, Dennis McCulloch, the head coach of the Vikings, who comes up for his post-game conversation with us here after a Viking win today as the Vikings knock off Mayville State by a final score of 10-6. And, you know, Coach Mack, we'll start with kind of the theme that we've had here in the post-game report. I said at halftime it didn't look like a win. It looked like a lot of things, but it didn't look like a win. And, you know, we saw on that final possession there were guys on your sideline that were upset with each other, and they were talking to each other, and that's not body language we're used to seeing here at Valley City State, right? And I'm guessing that conversation in the locker room was not a pleasant one here today.
You know, to be honest with you, I mean, we've been playing, you know how this played out this whole season, a little bit very similar, and struggling really getting the things going and having some connections offensively, and when we get down, can't seem to figure out how to put the points on the board in the red zone. And I mean, those frustrations are continue to, you know, to be there for us. And you know, we have some things in good situations, do some positive pieces, and then you know, find a way to struggle with it. And overall, though, I tell you, our guys, you know, our coaches went back in. We knew this game's going to be ugly, you know, it just was. And you know, it's 3-0, and you're like, well, to be frustrated, and yeah, you can be frustrated, but if you go out and play all right, your second half, you're going to be fine, right? Because you're going to have an opportunity in this game. One play can make a huge difference. One major drive, which we have, right, makes
96 yards.
Yes, that, you know, that piece makes a difference in this kind of game, and so the guys hung in there. Our coaching staff have. It's been difficult. It's not an easy piece when everything's not going right and we're not clicking and all. So we know that those things, and we have some, you know, there are some pieces that we're just not where we want to be at. But I just love how hard our kids continue to play. They work hard. They do the things you're asking to do, and ultimately, you know, stay together and found a way to get it done.
3 guys today offensively. There were plays that Avery Thorsgaard made that he just made with will when he was hit, took hits, and kept going yards after contact to pick up first downs in key moments for the Vikings. 2 guys defensively, Georgia Magnejo to Quez Chapman. Huge on the defensive line today. I mean, really got after it for the Vikings.
They did, and you know, we feel like we have 4 really good defensive linemen. The guys, all those guys play really well, and Tequez has done that all year for us and found a way to beat somebody and have some tackles for losses and create some issues for the quarterbacks up front. Those guys did play awfully well today, and
I just looked at the numbers here. I better mention Mosiah Rogers-Tavau as well. 11 tackles today.
Really well. I mean, and he had to. I mean, he was put on an island sometimes with some of the running game. When you spread everybody out and put just one running back in the backfield, you know, they do isolate guys, and guys have to step up and find a way to make a play. And very pleased with how well those guys have played all year and have done a good job. And I'm glad there was a holding call in that last. You know, hadn't been any holding calls. I've been yelling a lot, but there wasn't any call before. Because that was a huge play on their part. He gets behind the defense on a cover 2 piece, and number 1 for them is really good. I mean, he's a talented young. That catch he made coming across the middle, one-handed behind him. I mean, he's a special player, and I know he's frustrated without their starting quarterback being in, somebody throwing the ball, because makes all this a lot more difficult when you can throw the ball along with a very good run game.
Yep.
Mayville's a different team. I mean, I know that piece. So this is not I hear a lot, and I give Coach Larson a lot of credit. He's built a different team of Mayville than we've seen for a long time. I mean, there are not a ton of weaknesses that they have and pieces that they've done, and I give him a lot of credit to where he's brought this program.
Yeah, with Tim Salmon, that's a team that could give just about anybody in the league a pretty
really
good game with the personnel that they
yes.
have. Yeah, they'd be tough. Now, because you and I have known each other for 814 years, in these post-game press conferences, I get to ask some of the tough questions once in a while. So 3 games in a row with Avery Thorsgaard as the exclusive quarterback. We haven't seen Noah come on the field. Do we have an injury there? Is there something going on? Tell us a little bit about what's happening.
No, there's not an injury going on, and I think that battle continues to go with Coach York. And, we're just a little bit of like, is it a consistency thing? If we give somebody the consistent play, does that help this team? Does the things that we have, and we know some of our weaknesses, and does Avery give something an edge over Noah? And that's the piece that we've been battling with, and Avery's played well in these games that, against Jamestown, had a great game. Dakota State.
He had a great game against Dakota State, if not for the 2 picks,
yes,
right?
Absolutely. Yep. I mean, some of the decisions that we made there. And so that's the biggest thing. I think Noah still has, we know his ability and things he can bring to us. It's just that decision process right now. And
I would also guess that it's tough to block to Noah Chambers' strengths, right? His ability to work the field.
Yes,
the pass protection is something that the Vikings have struggled with this year.
You're exactly right. And with it, you hit it right on the head right there. It is his strength of being able to sit in the pocket, give him a little bit more time so he can throw the ball down the field has been limited. And in some of the games is when he gets rushed early, it creates another issue for us because he's anxious then. Even when you get time, sometimes you had those things happen. But Noah's talented. We know he could step in and play for us, and there's still going to be that time where it may be needed that's the best for us to be able to move the football. We need a more multidimensional. And that's what Noah brings to us. So it's not an easy decision because they are both talented. They both have played a lot for us. But I think our offense is trying to find an answer a little bit to get some things going, and that's part of the things to try to say is, can we get more consistency if we leave him in and let him play? And that's kind of how the decision comes out.
Next week, Dickinson State, 17th in the country. You kind of treat this as, hey, this is our playoff game, guys.
Absolutely,
so
absolutely. I just said that down there. I just said it's a great opportunity for us, and we're going to be very excited about an opportunity to play a very good team. And they've taken us, we know the last 7 years, 8 years, we've been number 2 and been there with them, but we never beat them. And we're excited. We'll be excited about getting an opportunity to do it and bringing them here. They're a very good football team. We have to play at a high level to beat them, but our guys will be excited about it.
We don't want to lose 2 games in the same year to Mayville State.
No,
right? That's not something we want hanging around, right?
Thank goodness, because I'm not sure the AD would let me survive. So,
so you got the last one against Mayville State, right?
Yep.
You get the last one. It's the only one that we remember anyway. We remember the one up there.
Exactly
right.
That's exactly right.
So we go over to Jamestown and win that one in 2 weeks. We call it a good year, right?
That's right. That's exactly right. And we just, these games have all played out. They're all going to be tight, and we've said it all year is, the same thing down in Dakota State. That game goes down to the wire. You have a chance to win. You can't make a bunch of mistakes, and that's the key to all these games are going to be. The same thing's going to be next week.
Yeah,
so.
Dakota State was just weird because I felt like coming out of that game, that was the 5th game you lost this year. In the 4 previous losses that you had, I think you'd have straight up told us we didn't play as well as they did in those games.
That's right.
Dakota State, you played better than they did and lost the football game, and those are the ones that are really hard to accept.
Extremely frustrating last week with how that one played out, and you're exactly right. So we're excited about tonight and about this win, and we'll look forward to hosting Dickinson next week.
And we're going to get over to volleyball, all right? We got that going on now.
Yes. That's right. We'll see you over there.
I love how the administration here at Valley City State just makes me work my tail off.
I know. What is going on with
2
that?
Saturdays in a row you're going to do that to me?
I know. Sorry. You're a glutton for punishment, though.
Thank you, Coach.
Thank you. Appreciate it, Ryan.
Dennis McCulloch, the head coach of the Viking football team, joining us for our post-game conversation. Vikings win it by a score of 10-6. Jaden, we'll let you jump in here real quick. I know you have to bug as well because you got things going on, and we got to get over to Gratian, so we'll wrap it up at this point. But thank you a lot. And I want to say, Jaden, thank you And thanks to Landon as well. I took a look at some of the coverage last night from the matchup with Bellevue, and I know that technologically speaking, things didn't go 100% to plan, but not only were you able to overcome some difficulties, but you guys called a really nice match last night. So thank you very much for stepping into the chair and helping out with the guy in need, and we appreciate you, and we'll see you again, I suppose, Wednesday with basketball back in?
I'll be back on Saturday for football, I think. We
okay.
got some things to take care of, obviously.
On Wednesday?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Well, I'll handle Morris. We're beating them by 40. I'm kidding. Don't tell them that, please. We're just going to play on more. I'll handle that, but we'll see you on Saturday with Dickinson State.
That sounds like a plan.
Jaden Babiak joining us today, and again, Ellie Tombarge was our camera operator here today from Lockett Stadium. Vikings win it by a final score of 10-6. First serve for Viking volleyball as they get ready to play Dort, Iowa in the regular season finale is scheduled for 5:30. Our pregame is going to happen just before we get to that first serve. We're on our way over there right now to get ready. Thank you for joining us on the radio side. Back to regular programming on the video side. We'll see you again just a little bit, and both radio and video coverage for Viking volleyball coming up tonight.
Local news when you need it. With News Director Steve Yurnis. Trust the voice of the Valley, KOVC.